tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In our heart and the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading on light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In our heart and the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading on light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In our heart and the struggle, we dare.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Now, first off, let me apologize for being so very tardy. Okay, I was having some issues this morning, beloveds. I was having some issues. Now, you all know I'm always late, or usually late, but not this late. Okay, so I was having a few issues. Now, with that all been said, let's get into it. Hello, G from the land. All right, Terry Hitton is in the virtual building. Yvette. All right, LL is here, peacefully living. All right, let's get into it. Claudette. Love Christie is here. Okay, so with that all being said, shout out to all my loyal rows and everyone tuned into the Queen, and a big shout out to my moderators for putting in work. I see you, Pearly, Cherokee Descended Dale, Black Women Stand Up. All right, 504 Nola. Desmond is here, Chris B. Okay, so let's get started. But before we do, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes. Everybody hit the like button. Thank you.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes Hair Oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts, and you can also find it at Walmart.com. Okay, so now with that all being said, let's get ready to get into it because first thing I saw when I logged on this morning was Prince Andrew, or I'm sorry, former Prince Andrew. His name now is Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. Okay, so he's been arrested. All right, he has been arrested. So let's get into it and see what they're talking about. And then we're going to get into this whole, this deposition they had with Les Wexner on yesterday. Okay. And so likes up, everyone, please like and share. Here we go. Oh, and I'm sorry. Hold on. Hold on. Did I tell you all? I'm sorry. I'm discombobulated this morning because I was having all these issues, but I don't know if I said it, but I'll say it again just in case. Don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes Hair Oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. And also, you can purchase it at Walmart.com. And she sells beard oil. Okay, so now let's get into it. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, here we go.
Prince Andrew's been arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. That's right. Prince Andrew has been arrested. Sky News reports police had been assessing claims against the former Duke of York, who turned 66 today, that emerged in the Jeffrey Epstein files. Police haven't named the person arrested, quote, as per national guidance. According to the Crown Prosecution Service, misconduct in a public office refers to serious willful abuse or neglect of powers relating to the role. Andrew has denied any wrongdoing. Caddy, I think it's hard sometimes for Americans to understand London's culture, how tight it is, how close people are, how we see people, royals, and we think, they're far afield. They're rarely seen by people. But this, for you actually grew up in and around, places where Prince Andrew would go, where people that run London go. And this has to be particularly shocking to you, just as somebody from London that grew up with the royals, around the royals. I'm just curious, your thoughts this morning on this extraordinary news breaking out of London.
Look, this has never happened before. We have a prince, the favored son of Queen Elizabeth, much loved Queen Elizabeth, now sitting in a jail cell with, we're told, a bed and a toilet in the cell. He can be held there for, I think the statutory maximum is 96 hours. People say it's likely to be 12 to 24 hours. And I was just checking, but there has been no member of the British royal family who has ever been arrested. His sister Anne was given a criminal charge for having a dangerous dog back in 2002. That is the closest this comes. A couple of other minor royals have had drunk driving charges leveled against them, but no one in the royal family has ever been in this position. So whether you know the royals or you don't know the royals, this is incredibly shocking and yet almost inevitable. The net was tightening around Andrew. He was no longer a prince. The king, his brother, had said the criminal investigation has to run its course. We will, of course, cooperate, was the language that he used. So now the question is, what happens to Andrew? What's the knock-on effect to the royal family? And I think perhaps most importantly, what does this mean for victims of Jeffrey Epstein, who are seeing that in the United States, there is little accountability outside the private sector, but in Britain, you've had now 3 members of the UK government and a prince facing very serious consequences because of their relationship with Epstein.
And this makes that contrast in accountability as stark as it's ever been when you have the brother of the King of England now sitting in jail. Let's go straight to London. Bring in MS Now international reporter Inez de la Cuetara. Inez, what more are we learning this morning?
Hey, yeah, I mean, a really remarkable turn of events, as Caddy just mentioned. This is the first time a member of the royal family has been arrested, at least in recent history. So the former Prince Andrew arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. British police were seen arriving at his residence in Sandringham earlier today. That's according to local media reports. We know, of course, Andrew has always denied any wrongdoing, but this comes after Thames Valley Police had said it was investigating claims that he may have leaked confidential information to Epstein while he was trade envoy for the UK. We did get a statement from police. So they're not naming him. That's typical for British police, but they say they did arrest a man in his 60s from Norfolk. We know that Andrew is 66. It's actually his birthday today. They say on suspicion of misconduct in public office, and they are carrying out searches at other places, other addresses in Berkshire and Norfolk. They say the man remains in police custody at this time. We also got a statement from the Assistant Chief Constable Oliver Wright. He says that following a thorough assessment, we have now opened an investigation into this allegation of misconduct in public office. It is important that we protect the integrity and objectivity of our investigation as we work with our partners to investigate this alleged offense. Now, we know that Buckingham Palace just about a week ago had said that it would be cooperating with this investigation. That is also remarkable. We had heard, the members of the royal family also speaking out about this. The King, the Prince and Princess of Wales putting out statements saying that they were deeply concerned by these allegations, that their thoughts remained with the victims. Of course, we know that back in the fall, Andrew had been stripped of all his royal titles because of his ties to Epstein. And as you guys just mentioned, this comes as there's been this real push for accountability in the UK, whether it has to do with the royal family or members of the government as well, with two of the British Prime Minister's aides having to resign over the Peter Mandelson scandal. Mandelson also believed to have leaked confidential information to Epstein, the prime minister really fearing for his political future at one point. And we did hear from Starmer just this week, actually. He was asked about, the Epstein scandal, and he said that basically no one is above the law, not even Andrew. And he is calling for Andrew to testify before both UK and US authorities.
Wow. Ines de la Cuetara live from London. Thank you very much for your reporting this morning.
Well, I find this all so interesting, don't you, beloveds? Okay, don't you? Now, here's the thing. They're saying that basically the royal family is, willing to cooperate and all of that. Well, that's likely true. That's likely true. But here's the thing. I want you all to pay attention, because though they may be saying that they're going to cooperate, well, hold on, let me take this. I forgot to take this down. Let's stop the share. Okay, now, though they have said that they intend to cooperate, they really don't want to. And I'm quite sure they're going to do the least amount possible in their cooperation. And because here's the thing. This isn't the first time there's been a scandal, a royal scandal involving such allegations. Now, before it was more so rumors, we didn't have anybody really coming forward and saying anything about the incident. If you all remember, the person who was, and I'm not going to say allegedly, because I literally saw this. It was on video. Now, they've probably watched that video from the internet. But, if you all remember, if any of you remember having seen it or heard about it, put a one in the chat. But there was years ago, someone who didn't have on any clothes. They were in their birthday suit, and they were like climbing out of a window of Buckingham Palace by a sheet. Does anyone remember that? Does anyone remember that? And I tell you that it looked like a child. It looked like a little boy. And that's what most people said who saw it. Now, some people said it was an adult male, but it didn't look like an adult to me. And if it was, he had to have been very small in stature. But so you all do remember that. So thank you. So please miss us with it. We've heard it all before. Not to mention, there's that other story about Queen Elizabeth back in the 60s, and some man that was with her supposedly going to Canada to a school for children. Native American children were there, or not Native Americans because they're in Canada, but Native children were there, and they took off like 10 of them, and those kids supposedly, now this is all alleged, I've never been able to substantiate this, but it was said by many people that these kids never were found again. So I thought that was very interesting. Miss Tree says PDF statues on the churches, they been nasty. I agree. I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. You see, if you look at If you go and look at some of the Greek statues and their art and things like that, and their architecture, then you'll see that this is a culture. Okay, this is a culture for some of these people. Because they've always had these things that are so inappropriate. And, like the little boys looking up at the men with neither of them wearing clothing. These are statues that they've had. They've had some of these things on sculptures and buildings. Okay, so just all egregious. Thank you for your insight into the topic, Ms. Treese, and your contribution to the channel, beloved. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, so now with that being said, someone did a video saying that there's supposed to be or not supposed to be, but they're saying there's a media blackout on the Epstein files. And I'm not going to say necessarily a media blackout because they have talked about it. But what I will say is I noticed that most of the lamestream media here in the United States is not talking about some of the things that have been found in those Epstein files. Because if we're finding them, I know they're finding them. Okay. I know they're finding them. They have investigative journalists that they pay to look into things like this. So some of these things are just not being reported. Okay, Sheila says, hit the like button. Likes not match the views. It's free. That's right. Tell them, beloved. Thank you. Okay, don't make me have to stop the broadcast. All right. Thank you, Sheila, for that, beloved. And thank you for your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, so now let's check out what this young lady said about a media blackout.
A woman goes missing and we have the entirety of legacy media covering it 24/7. Then we get millions of documents released and there's still thousands of children missing, but we have straight up evidence of people that were eating, dismembering, and sacrificing babies. We're told by the President of the United States that it's time to move on. Not to mention every single media outlet is refusing to cover it and not one arrest has been made.
Well, we got an arrest now, but unfortunately it's not in the United States. Okay, and then also the former prime minister of Norway was arrested, and the princess is in trouble. It doesn't look like she's going to be queen, maybe. Okay, so now, but let's get into this. First of all, before we get to Wexner, let's talk about Trump. Basically targeting blue cities, which we know, and he's so stupid. Now, just listen to his excuse, because Trump is just listen, does he really think that only the Democratic states have high crime rates? Which it isn't true. But is that what he thinks? Is that what that's what he just wants to say, because he just wants to harass the Democrats. If he really cared about the American citizens and he was really trying to be so tough on crime and all of that, why isn't he in the red states as well? Okay, make it make sense. And then he's talking about he has to force himself on them. Okay, well, that should tell him everything he needs to know right there. But Trump's going down. And let me tell you all something. Hold on, let's let him talk. Let's let him think he's cooking, and then I'll tell you all something about Trump in just a minute.
That no community should be abandoned to. Under the Trump administration, we believe that no community should be abandoned to the scourge of violent crime, and we're saving thousands and thousands of lives in many cities. And frankly, if these radical left lunatic Democrats would come and say, please help us, please, we'd stop crimes all over the place. And we're doing it in a lot of cities. Sometimes we have to force ourselves upon them because they're so bad. And I don't even think they realize what's happening to their cities and their towns. But every town that we go in, every city that we go in, like Washington, Felicia, you feel much safer now. Totally safe. You can walk to a restaurant. The restaurants were all closing. Now you can't get a restaurant. And the bad news is you can't get into a restaurant. But it's a great thing to see what's happening in Washington. It's a hot place. And hopefully people will be coming in record numbers. And it's been, I know we need a little help. You need help in Atlanta. He just said, you're right. Atlanta, we could take care of Atlanta. I'll tell you what, you ought to get them to call me. We could take care of it.
Baby, we're not calling you. Don't bring your ass down here with ice, okay? Coming down here with that bullshit. Don't bring it down here.
Atlanta so fast. They don't want to call. They don't want to call because they don't want to admit it, and they'll never fix it themselves. Don't forget, we move people out. We don't just go in and, be tough guys. We move people out. We take career criminals and we get them out. We bring them back to the country from where they came.
He's a darn lie. That's not what they're doing. They're locking up actual citizens, okay, in the United States, people who are from other places but are now citizens here, and locking them up in these detention camps, okay? And some of the people that are actually criminals that are supposed to have been deported are also in detention camps. Please, miss us with it. Don't come down here with your bullshit, Trump. Nobody wants to see you talking about they're not going to call you and they'll never fix it themselves. Honey, we don't have a whole lot of crime down here. Okay, despite it being highly populated with people that look like me. Okay, we don't have all that crime down here that we need assistance. Okay, I'm sorry. And then he said if a-hole was a person. Exactly. Exactly. Now let's go to what Representative Garcia said about Les Wexner's deposition yesterday. Also, before we get started, listen, do you all know how many of the GOP showed up for the deposition yesterday of Mr. Wexner? Does anyone venture to guess, or does anyone know? Maybe you've heard it somewhere before now, because this actually came out yesterday. I was going to come back, but I was too busy. But do you all know how many of the Republicans showed up for the deposition yesterday? Zero. None of them showed up. None of them showed up. And you know why none of them showed up, in my opinion? Because I think they were hiding out. Because I didn't know what that man was going to say. I didn't know what that man was going to say. And here's the thing. At the end of the day, they have to protect Trump with everything in them. And the reason is because if Trump goes down, and hopefully he will, but if Trump goes down, they know that they all go down. They know it. Because y'all know Trump's not going down by himself. Trump will stand up in court. Okay, he'll stand up before Congress. And he will tell them, he will do a whole Nino Brown. How much you want to bet? Trump will get up and say, oh, it was so-and-so. Start pointing the fingers and all of that. I could see it coming. But seriously though, if Trump goes down, then all the rest of the dominoes will fall. And they all know that. So this is why they're protecting him so fiercely. And Bonnie knows that that means the end of her too. Because she knows that she's been lying. Okay, she knows that she's been covering up. She knows all of the things that she's been doing, that they've all been doing. So they all are invested, very heavily invested in keeping this man protected and lying for him continuously. Let's get into it.
Of approximately over $1 billion, it looks like. It's about $1 billion that was either transferred, provided in stocks, or given directly to Mr. Epstein by Wexner. Now, it's important to note that Mr. Wexner appears to be unaware of much of the money, as he claims, that was given over to Mr. Epstein. In fact, it's interesting that Mr. Wexner has already begun to clarify in his mind that somehow he and Mr. Epstein weren't even friends. We should be very clear that the two were very close per reporting. They spent a lot of time together. Mr. Wexner admitted that he traveled to both Epstein's island as well as his other properties. Mr. Wexner also admitted that Jeffrey Epstein had access to a lot of Mr. Wexner's wealth. And when asked even simple questions, even as it relates to Mr. Epstein being the co-president of the foundation that established the area that we're in today, Mr. Wexner had little to say. In fact, it's clear that Mr. Wexner is trying to downplay how close Jeffrey Epstein and Mr. Wexner actually were. And we should be very clear that there would be no Epstein Island, there would be no Epstein plane, there'd be no money to traffic women and girls. Mr. Epstein would not be the wealthy man he was without the support of Les Wexner. I think it's very important for us to note at this moment. There's a significant amount of questioning that has gone on, but I want to say one other thing and then I'm going to turn it over. We are committed to ending this cover-up. Right now, as we speak, over 50% of the Epstein files have not been released to the public and to the Congress. Donald Trump and Pam Bondi are leading a White House cover-up to protect billionaire, wealthy benefactors, whether it's Mr. Wexner or whether it's anybody else. And that has to end. We know of approximately over.
Now, here's the thing. Remember, I reported to you all about 2 years ago that Les Wexner claimed that Jeffrey Epstein stole money from him, millions of dollars. And I said to you all then, I said, why would this man have access to his account like that? And then, especially long enough for him to have stolen all of these funds. Okay? And I told you all then that they have to have been having a secret affair, messing around. You see, I knew that probably, well, I didn't know, but I figured that probably was the reason, because why else would you give him all that access? Second of all, knowing that they were the perverts that they are, I figured that they were messing around with each other. Okay? Because people like them, they'll probably sleep with anybody and anything. So that's what I figured. But now, a former CIA agent, I just found this morning. I wasn't even looking for it. I was just getting my things together, doing my thumbnail, and it just came across my information, right? So basically, he says that they had an affair. I find that interesting. Okay, but we're going to get to that in just a moment. But let's see what Jasmine Crockett has to say about Wexner. Okay, likes up, everyone. Please don't forget to like and share. Also, please double check to make sure that you're still subscribed to the channel, especially if you have not been receiving notifications. If you're new to the channel, it would behoove you to please double check to make sure that you're still subscribed on a regular basis, especially if you notice you're not getting notifications, because ScrewTube does have a habit of unsubscribing people from this channel, okay? Because it's just too much truth over here. Okay, that's just what it is.
Were always young girls seemingly looking for an opportunity to model, and there were always rich and powerful people on the other side, dangling a carrot, saying, I will give you the life that you're seeking. Yet ultimately, the stories are the same. They're stories of abuse. They're stories of trafficking at the highest level. And I will tell you one thing that was remembered for sure was when asked about Donald Trump and Epstein and whether or not they had been in the same room and what that looked like. He didn't quite remember, but he imagined that, yes, that possibly happened, because he did remember that Donald Trump also would like to show up to the Victoria's Secret runway shows. Now, that was a little odd to him, he said, because Donald Trump was not engaged in fashion whatsoever. Is that there were always young girls seemingly looking for an opportunity to model, and there were always rich and powerful people on the other side, dangling a carrot, saying, I will give you the life that you're seeking. Yet ultimately, the stories are the same. They're stories of abuse. They're stories of trafficking at the highest level. And I will tell you one thing that was remembered for sure was when asked about Donald Trump and Epstein and whether or not they had been in the same room and what that looked like. He didn't quite remember, but he imagined that, yes, that possibly happened, because he did remember that Donald Trump also would like to show up to the Victoria's Secret runway shows. Now, that was a little odd to him, he said, because Donald Trump was not engaged in fashion whatsoever. Is that there were always young girls seemingly looking for an opportunity to model, and there were always rich and powerful people on the other side, dangling a carrot, saying, I will give you the life that you're seeking. Yet ultimately, the stories are the same. They're stories of abuse. They're stories of trafficking at the highest level. And I will tell you one thing that was remembered for sure was when asked about Donald Trump and Epstein and whether or not they had been in the same room and what that looked like. He didn't quite remember, but he imagined that, yes, that possibly happened, because he did remember that Donald Trump also would like to show up to the Victoria's Secret runway shows. Now, that was a little odd to him, he said, because Donald Trump was not engaged in fashion whatsoever. Is that there were always young girls seemingly looking for an
Now, we know Trump showed up because, as I told you all before, and I believe I showed you the video, some of these women who were younger, of course, back then, said that he would come in there when they were getting dressed. Okay, they weren't even fully dressed. And he just felt like he could do that. And he felt like he could say things like grab him by the you know what, because he said that was locker room talk. That's what he said. Okay? Just a disgusting piece of ish. All right? I don't know how he made it to the White House. Well, yes, I do. Because America's full of racist idiots who don't think clearly and have no common sense or critical thinking skills. They just don't have it. Okay? The MAGA cult is full of idiots. Okay? It's true.
The survivors have said over and over and over, follow the money. That was the one thing that they told us, as well as their attorneys. Follow the money. Well, we're following the money. But I'm going to be perfectly honest with you and tell you that we are running into dead ends at this moment. On yesterday, I was asked about this particular deposition and what I anticipated I would hear. As a trained attorney and litigator, once they told me he wasn't taking the fifth, I thought that the record would be full of I don't remembers. I will tell you that once this record comes out, you will see that you most likely will be left with more questions than answers. Let me tell you, the survivors have said over and over and over, follow.
Now we're going to go to what Representative Ansari had to say about this. We're going to go to the clip where she talks about the victims and the money first, and then we'll go to another clip.
Course of the last year, the American public has been witnessing what I can only call the most egregious cover-up in American history. And today was a critical part of our investigation to try to end this cover-up once and for all. We have met with the victims of Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and the rich and powerful people that helped to perpetuate these crimes. And we have heard over and over from these victims the name of Les Wexner and the importance of following the money. Because the story of Jeffrey Epstein is one that can almost, it almost is the plot of a movie that is turned into a nightmare. And the real reason Jeffrey Epstein was able to get away with raping and abusing children, young women, boys, young men for so many years was because of the vast amounts of money that he was able to acquire. And that largely came from Les Wexner here in Ohio. So we're here to ask Les Wexner the critical questions. And it's been very interesting to see the types of responses that he's giving and his demeanor throughout the interview. He claims to want to provide information and to be helpful in the investigation, but then quickly follows up by saying that he does not recall details around a relationship with somebody that he had for decades. Les Wexner handed his power of attorney to Jeffrey Epstein. He allowed Jeffrey Epstein to live in his homes, to have hundreds of millions of his dollars, to use his yachts and his planes. This was obviously a very, very close relationship. And so far, what we have seen is a denial of that relationship. Another important theme that has come up today is that Les Wexner is actually tied to other sex trafficking and child abuse scandals here in Ohio, around the country. There are reports of payments that were made to a gynecologist at Ohio State University, and that money went through Jeffrey Epstein, but came from Les Wexner. And he has been asked about this with no real response, no recollection. And again, as my colleagues have said, I don't think it is feasible or understandable or conceivable that any individual would not have an understanding of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars of their own money and can't answer to those questions. So it is clear that this cover-up is vast. It goes as high as the White House and the Department of Justice that still has not released the majority of the Epstein files, still has illegally redacted information, still has not begun any indictments or prosecutions for the very credible allegations that are in the files that we already have seen, all the way to people at universities, in companies, and vast networks of elite individuals across this country. And what I can tell you very clearly is that oversight Democrats on this committee will not back down until we get every detail, until every person who enabled and perpetrated these crimes is held accountable.
And let me tell you something. They're going down. They're not going to get away with this again. Okay. They've been getting away with this stuff for decades. And anytime witnesses and victims came forward, they were just told they were liars and that it was all a hoax. Okay. And all kinds of other BS. They're not getting away with it this time. They are not getting away with it. And here's the thing. Now, just to give you an idea of the scope of the cover up, Pam Bondi, the DOJ, they had in their files that Les Wexner is a co conspirator. Kash Patel lied and said there was no co-conspirators. That's what he said. Did he not say that? He said there was no co-conspirators. They had this man listed as a co-conspirator, but not only that, they've never bothered to question him. They've never had him interrogated. If you deem this man a co-conspirator, the first thing you should have done was brought him in, okay, for a deposition. They never did it. And then yesterday when he was deposed, okay, they didn't even show up. Yeah, like I told you, they're hiding out because some of them are in those files for nefarious reasons, not just being mentioned in passing. Okay, please pay attention. They know the jig is up. Okay, they know it. Now let's continue because here's Ansari again on CNN.
Being here because you were in the room, we were not. Did you find Les Wexner to be believable?
I went in with a very earnest attempt to ask questions and was hoping to get as many substantive answers as possible from Les Wexner. It is very hard to believe him based on the questions that were asked and the responses that were given, and I'll elaborate on that. As you very well just outlined, Caitlin, there was a decades-long relationship between Jeffrey Epstein and Les Wexner. He had power of attorney over his finances. He gave him almost $1 billion, even though it's pretty unclear what exactly he was doing, and those questions were asked. When we asked today, and I asked him this question about the nature of their relationship, were you guys friends? Did you consider yourself to have a personal relationship? Obviously, this is someone you trusted with so much of your life. He said no, and he took on the same sort of demeanor that we've seen from many other men who talk about their relationships with Jeffrey Epstein, whether that be President Trump, who now, acts like they barely knew each other, to Howard Lutnick, who had to change course when it was revealed that he went to Epstein's island. This was very similar. It was no, we weren't good friends. We didn't have a personal relationship. He simply was my advisor. Then we'd ask him questions about, why he trusted him with so much money, despite it being reported that many of his close advisors at the time advised against it. He said he didn't remember. So because of that very basic question, not receiving a response that I felt was believable, it was hard to trust everything else that was brought up during today's deposition.
For being here because you were in the room, we were not. Did you find Les Wexner to be believable?
I don't see how anybody could have found him to be believable because, for one, I don't see how they could have found him believable because, for one, they had to have known he was lying. Of course, they knew he was lying when he's acting like he doesn't know what happened to the money. He's trying to minimize his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, acting like he didn't know him that well, lying and saying that he only went to the ranch, to the island once. Sir, you funded the ranch or the island. Okay, you allegedly funded it. Mally C says, Queen, you got to check out Hefner widow fight to keep his Zex diaries from being shown. They date back all the way to the 60s. I emailed you about Epstein FedEx account still been. What? FedEx account still been active, honey. Thank you so much. I will absolutely look into that. Thank you for the tea. Okay, and also thank you for your insight into the topic and your contributions to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. This is all nefarious. Okay, all nefarious. Now let's continue because we're going to go to when they talk about Central Ohio billionaire Les Wexner and how he was ducking and dodging. Okay, we're going to get into it, honey. This rabbit hole is going real deep.
Leslie Wexner, who is part of a trifecta of sexual abuse scandals.
How you doing? Are we going to get some justice for the survivors, Mr. T-Berry? survivors outside. We're gonna get some justice for them. Johnson, you ever get tired of telling lies for these people? You ever get tired of telling lies for these people?
I don't tell any lies.
Where's Wexner? What's he doing today?
You have to ask his people.
Well, his people's right there. Board Chairman John Zeiger is his personal lawyer. Where's Wexner, Zeiger? We got to get you straightened up, brother.
I don't,
You don't think it's a conflict of interest?
I speak for the university, only the university.
How's this?
I'll talk to you later. This was fun.
Mr. Carpenter, we're gonna get some justice for the survivors today.
Mr. Marshall,
I know you're.
this gentleman is here accosting people coming into the courtroom. This gentleman right here.
Should Wexner's name share the same line with a guy like Woody Hayes?
Well,
He also handpicked Mike Jeffries, the former Abercrombie CEO. He's been indicted for sexual trafficking.
Hold the hell up. Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? I say what now? Did y'all hear what he said about the former Abercrombie CEO, Mike Jeffries, that he handpicked him? These people are all connected. These people are all connected. Now it all makes sense. Every last one of them. I'll bet you Vince McMahon and his wife and all these other people that me, the Queen, has reported on, because all these other people been reporting on Diddy. And you know what's interesting about that is this. Where's all that smoke? All of these people that was talking all that slick stuff about Diddy, where are they now to talk about these thugs? I find it interesting. Crickets. And I'm talking about one particular person, and we all know who I'm talking about, okay? Now let's get into it. These people have to be all connected. This is very interesting. So he handpicked Mike Jeffries? Wow.
State prostitution. So that's the trifecta. Wexner.
That's not good. Look, I don't have. Listen, I think Wexner's been tied to Epstein the whole time. What do you expect?
I expect some people to talk about it, to get it in the media, to use your office. Leslie Wexner's been running around this city for 40 years, being a sex.
This man right here, I think he wants to talk. I haven't seen this, but I think he might want to talk. He looks like he's just a little nervous because he don't want to lose that job or position.
In my opinion, being a sex criminal, and you guys act like you got no power. I put you on the spot, and I'm just a lowly county commissioner. You're one of the most powerful people in this county, brother. And you're going to stand here and act, I'm a small bean? Don't play that act with me.
Listen, I think it's wrong. I think that this needs to come to light, and somebody's going to step up and say, all right, this happened, and agree to it. But you know what's happening at the national level, what's happening here, they're hiding all this stuff. I think it's wrong.
The Wexner facility, that name was put up there with Woody Hayes, the most prestigious name in university history. $5 million donation. 2.5 came from his wife. The other 2.5 came from Jeffrey Epstein. His
What Les Wexner has supposedly, allegedly, in my opinion, been buying people off for decades. He's donating money to all these people. They don't want to say anything because they don't want to lose what they have. But also, this is bribery, in my opinion. Let's continue.
Foundation with Giselle Maxwell, 2.5.
If you want to forward that to me, I'll look at it.
And I'm giving you the heads up because there's a storm coming.
Well, then that's a problem for him if that's the case.
Yeah.
Do I like Les Wexner? I barely know the guy, but do I
Will you give his money back?
like what he's done?
Will you give his money back? Your campaign money?
He gave me money years ago.
Will you give that money back to charity?
Sure.
All right, there we go. Thank you. Appreciate it. That's a sad state of affairs, brother.
Leslie Wexner.
Mr. Zeiger said he doesn't have anything to say. Okay. Les Wexner, America's billionaire-itis, said they have billionaire-itis. Let's go to it. So he has his name on buildings. He's donated to people's campaigns. He's just bought off so many people. This rabbit hole goes so deep. And I now believe that he has funded a majority of this stuff. And, now I'm wondering if the Alexander brothers, those three real estate brothers that are on trial right now in the Southern District of New York, I bet they're all tied into this too. These people are all going down. Do y'all hear it? They're all going down. Oh, yes. And here's the thing, too. Now, I read somewhere yesterday. Where did I read it at? I was, I do so much research. I can't always remember my sources unless I save them to show you all. But I just read this in passing yesterday. Someone said in an article I was looking at, someone made the comment about Diddy. They said that Diddy was, I'm trying to think, did they call him the scapegoat or the fall guy? They called Diddy, I think they said Diddy it was something similar to scapegoat. Basically, that's what they were saying. I think they may have used another term, but they were saying that basically. And they said that the real people are these folk and Clive Davis. Now, we already know about Clive Davis because I already told you all about his money in the rugs back in the 70s and the stuff that he was caught up in. Now, don't let us find out that he's involved in some of this. Okay, don't let us find out.
Wexner appears to be unaware of much of the money, as he claims, that was given over to Mr. Epstein. In fact, it's interesting that Mr. Wexner has already begun to clarify in his mind that somehow he and Mr. Epstein weren't even front.
Who's Les Wexner? He's mentioned in the Epstein files over 1,000 times. In a lot of ways, he's more guilty and more important with regard to Jeffrey Epstein than Donald Trump. And he's being deposed today. And because he's a multi-billionaire, he doesn't go to Washington, D.C. No, all the congressmen have got to haul their butts off to his mansion in Ohio. Being a billionaire has its privileges. In the past, to cover for himself, Les Wexner has said, Jeffrey Epstein, oh, he was a con man. I was duped. I feel deeply sorry. And I had no idea what he was doing. His testimony is changing now. He says, Jeffrey Epstein, I barely knew the guy. Jeffrey Epstein's relationship with Les Wexner was, in fact, tighter than the relationship he had with Donald Trump. He controlled most of Les Wexner's finances as power of attorney. Virginia Giuffre said she had no relationship with Trump, but Les Wexner, she was trafficked him. Sworn testimony, she says this 3 to 5 times. Wexner gave over $1 billion to Jeffrey Epstein in testimony today. He says, oh, I didn't know anything about that. And with regard to Epstein Island, he says today, oh yeah, I was there once for just a few hours with my family. In the past, Wexner has said that Epstein stole at least tens of millions of dollars from him, which is likely true. And if it is true, why didn't Wexner, notoriously litigious, sue to get that money back? You know why. Les Wexner should have been tried years ago and likely should be in prison already, like Ghislaine Maxwell. But, we give billionaires a pass. And now Wexner is participating in a cover-up to protect Donald Trump. Why? Because if Donald Trump goes down, they all go down, all the billionaires. This country has billionaire-itis. It lets its billionaires get away with everything. It elected one who is unqualified as president. And if this country ever turns itself around, all these guys, all these billionaires, including Trump, got to go to prison.
And I absolutely pray that they all do. Okay? I pray that they all do. But now listen to this. Now this is what, hold on. This is what a former CIA agent had to say about Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And I thought this was so interesting. Okay, just remember you heard it here first. Okay, let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share.
Epstein was basically a penniless moron who couldn't graduate from college. And they placed him in a school, and then they sheep-dipped him at Bear Stearns. And then Les Wexner, who appears to have had an affair with him, then funded him as a fake billionaire. And that was the launch. Now, Epstein wasn't smart enough to actually run a prostitution ring. That's all Ghislaine Maxwell. Okay? Ghislaine Maxwell, as best I can tell from secondary sources, was running a prostitution ring for the Mossad in New York City. It included children. but they needed a boy and bring people in and kind of basically take it up to the presidential level. And so Jeffrey Epstein was managed by Ghislaine Maxwell. And one of the things people don't understand is that the Mossad doesn't just blackmail people for political influence and for money for Israel. They also blackmail corporate chiefs and others to gain special access to the computers so that they can plant backdoors. This is how Robert Maxwell made his name, with a software program called Promise that installed backdoors in all these government computers. They use these computer backdoors to get advanced knowledge to do insider trading. The greatest practitioner and enemy of the United States in the industrial espionage arena is not China or Russia or France or Germany. It's Israel and Great Britain. Epstein.
Now, I want you all to pay attention. First of all, here's what I want you all to pay attention. Ooh, baby, the pieces of the puzzle are coming together. Okay? The pieces of the puzzle are coming together. You all noticed that man looked a whole lot like Ghislaine. That was her dad, Robert Maxwell, the one who owned the company that published McGraw-Hill, the textbooks. Okay? This is all so darn interesting. I'm telling you, the pieces are absolutely coming together. Now, with that all being said, oh, God said, they swear they don't know each other, but we're sending and receiving billions from each other. You barely know him, but you kept going to the island. Oh, he said he only went there once with his family. You see, that's what they all have been saying. Lutnick said the same thing when he got caught in his lie, saying he didn't go there. And then we find out he did. And then he says, oh, I took my family and my children. They think that makes them sound, more believable. If they say that they took their wives and their children, that just makes you and your wives, their wives, makes them and their wives look like they're guilty. And what do you do with your children at some place like that? You sound crazy. Okay? That's what Lutnick said. But this is all very interesting. These people are something else. Okay? They're absolutely something else. Now, with that all being said, there was some other point that he made that I wanted to oh my God, what did he say? There was a point that he made. Hold on. There was a point that he made. Let me see if I can pull this back up real quick. There was a point that he made that added into something else that was said. Hold on, I lost my train of thought on that. But anyway, we'll have to get back into it. Okay? Now I'm going to change my thumbnail because bringing up Diddy made me remember that I have something to report to you about R. Kelly. Okay? I had something to report to you all about R. Kelly. So let me say this. Because I saw people going off last night when I was on Threads, and they were saying, y'all got R. Kelly in isolation, but y'all got all these under investigation. And I'm like, under investigation for what? So I had to start doing my research. But they were saying stuff like, y'all got R. Kelly under investigation and isolation, but you got Trump and all of them. These pedo freaks, alleged pedo freaks, you got them out here. They're not even charged. They're not even being investigated. Okay? And so I said, wait a minute, why is he under investigation? So let's talk about that. Because here's what they say. R. Kelly is being held in isolation while being investigated for possessing the retired prison official's phone. Now, why does he have this man's phone? R. Kelly under investigation for possessing the phone number. Oh, they say the phone number. Okay. Hold on. Didn't the title say the phone? Okay, it says phone number. The phone number of a retired prison official at his federal lockup in Butner, North Carolina, and has been placed in isolation for the duration of the probe. Okay, they say he's in isolation. Now, that's a fact. Kelly's attorney, Bo Brindley, told People exclusively. They say he's being held there simply because of his possession of a phone number of a retired prison official. So his only reason for having the phone number or contact with that prison official is because he was involved in a mentor program at the jail. This is what his attorney says. And he's involved in the mentor program, and because of that, he has a relationship with a prison official. That official retired and left the phone number for Mr. Kelly, and then as a result of that, now Mr. Kelly's locked up in a special housing for what they call an investigation. It sounds like they're just harassing R. Kelly, like for real. Okay, now when asked, When asked whether the former official was a retired warden, Brindley says the individual held that role. So that's what he was. Okay, so they say you have multiple positions at the jail at different times. So I don't want to commit to which one or which at what time. Okay, there are warden positions, associate warden positions, and other positions. But yes, in reality, it's a prison official that had been a warden at one time for sure. Now, Brindley says that he does not know how long the investigation or Kelly's time in isolation is going to last. They will not give us that time frame, so we don't know. Now we're trying to find as we're trying as hard as we can to make it as short as possible, but we don't know how long he's going to be held in there at this point, unfortunately. Now the experience in isolation has been devastating for the disgraced R&B singer, who's 59 years old, whose real name is Robert Sylvester Kelly. This is what his lawyer says it's devastating. I mean, you lose all of your contact with the outside world. You lose your ability to get commissary. I mean, they're inhumane conditions. It's freezing cold down there. I've been able to talk to him, and I know he's suffering right now, and it's devastating for him. But he's, doing the best he can. See, this sounds like they're just trying to torture him. This sounds like they're trying to torture him. Now, are they taking this stuff out on R. Kelly because they know that the Trump team is probably going down? I have several questions. Or are they just so mad because the warden, who's no longer there, gave R. Kelly his number so they could keep in touch? Or is that what they're upset about? Because it sounds like they're upset about something for sure. Now, a representative from the Office of Public Affairs at the Federal Bureau of Prisons told People in its statement, they say for privacy, safety, and security reasons, we do not discuss the conditions of confinement or internal security procedures for any inmates or group of inmates. Further specifying that the office noted in their statement. That sounds like a typo, but anyway, that's what it says. Now, the Bureau of Prisons, or BOP, is committed to maintaining the highest standards of integrity, impartiality, and professionalism, in the operation of its facilities. In accordance with the law, the BOP program statement, standards of employee conduct, explicitly prohibits all staff from providing preferential treatment to any inmate. Any deviation from this standard undermines public trust and the fair administration of justice. Violators may be subject to disciplinary actions, including removal from federal service and criminal prosecution. Now, he's serving a 30-year sentence. Okay, so anyway, I find this all interesting. Okay, don't y'all? Mississippi says the music industry wanted R. Kelly locked up. Clearly. They said, and it's just a rumor, I've never been able to substantiate it, but they said that he basically was trying to buy out his catalog. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to that clip with a former CIA agent because there's something that he said that caught my attention. And I don't remember what it was because I started talking about something else because I was reading the super chats. Okay, so let's go back to that real quick. He said something that I noticed that tied to something else. Okay, so let's go.
Was basically a penniless moron who couldn't graduate from college, and they placed him in a school, and then they sheep-dipped him at Bear Stearns, and then Les Wexner, who appears to have had an affair with him, then funded him as a fake billionaire, and that was the launch. Now, Epstein wasn't smart enough to actually run a prostitution ring. That's all Ghislaine Maxwell. Okay, Ghislaine Maxwell, as best I can tell from secondary sources, was running a prostitution ring for the Mossad in New York City. It included children, but they needed a boy and bring people in and kind of basically take it up to the presidential level. And so Jeffrey Epstein was managed by Ghislaine Maxwell. And one of the things people don't understand is that the Mossad doesn't just blackmail people for political influence and for money for Israel. They also blackmail corporate chiefs and others to gain special access to the computers so that they can plant backdoors. This is how Robert Maxwell made his name, with a software program called Promise that installed backdoors in all these government computers. They use these computer backdoors to get advanced knowledge to do insider trading. The greatest...
That's it. That's what I was looking for. The insider trading. I want y'all to pay attention. Woo, honey. So check this out. Do you guys remember just the other day when they had Blondie, aka Pam Bondi, and they were interrogating her during that hearing? Do you all remember when the representative laughed at her? Y'all remember that, right? One of the Democratic representatives laughed at her. I can't remember his name, older white guy with the glasses, but he was cracking up laughing at her because he knew she was lying, clearly. And she said to him, "What are you laughing at? I hear you do very well with the stock market." Didn't she say something like that? Didn't she say something like that? Insider trading? Yeah. Is that what she was talking about? Because you know that's illegal. That's why they sent Martha Stewart to prison for 5 years. Is that why she said, "What are you laughing about?" Like, oh, I got something on you too. That's what she was talking about. I guarantee you that's what she was talking about. Okay, that's all I need to know right there. We don't have to finish watching the rest. We already saw it. But I find it all interesting. You see how the lines or how the dots are starting to connect? The pieces of the puzzle are starting to come together. Okay? This is absolutely nefarious. What else is going on with these devils? What else? Well, I'm so glad you asked. Let's get into it. Ooh, honey, it's getting real juicy. So first of all, I got something to show you all. But before we do, I'm going to tell you all about Baal and how they've been playing in our faces this whole time. Okay? They literally have basically had some of us worshiping Baal with them. Yeah, I know that hurts. Pray to the Most High for forgiveness. Okay? Because ignorance is really no excuse because the information's out here. Some people just don't look for it. You know, they say, the lack of knowledge. Okay. So first off, let's talk about Marjorie Taylor-Greene and Laura Loomer, because they were going back and forth. Then we're going to get into the whole thing about Baal. First, I'm going to go to this post. Okay. They say this is from Representative Garcia. Today's deposition made one thing clear. There would be no Epstein Island, no Epstein plane, and no money to traffic girls. He should have said and boys, because some boys were added as well, allegedly, without the financial assistance of Les Wexner. We are committed to ending this White House cover-up, which protects criminals and billionaire benefactors. Okay, now, this is Laura Loomer. As I said before, expect to see Marjorie Taylor-Greene do nothing but attack President Trump all throughout 2026. She wants the GOP to lose midterms. Honey, she don't have to want y'all to lose. Y'all going to lose. It's already lost. Please pay attention. And y'all all are going to jail. Okay? Y'all all going to jail, beloved. Now I can't wait. Okay, now Marjorie Taylor-Greene, as they call her, she responded. She says, "I have to admit, I was wrong when I warned Trump and his senior staff to stay away from Laura Loomer. Her divisiveness, loyalty test temper tantrums, Israel first agenda, and her manufactured bullshit she calls Loomered have all been great for the party and the president. Laura is a two-time congressional candidate loser who has been seriously underestimated. Please make her chair of the RNC. Wait, that is not enough. Make her White House chief of staff. How dare President Trump not reward his most loyal worshiper? Literally the self-appointed high priestess of MAGA or MEGA or whatever this thing has mutated into. Now MEGA stands for Make Israel Great Again. I can't believe they haven't even given Laura the most simple and basic of all things, White House press credentials. This is an outrage. Okay, well, here's the thing. She's a fine one to talk. Although I do love it that the devils are going in on each other. I absolutely love that. And I told you all this was going to happen. And so here we are. But what I do think is that she needs to sit down somewhere talking about someone being Trump's biggest loyalist, because that's what she was until he ticked her off. Okay, until he ticked her off. Now, the Patriotic Blonde says, I keep hearing people say how tone deaf Trump is to the whole Epstein issue and that he doesn't seem to grasp the anger of his base. I worked 2 of Trump's campaigns. He is the most social media savvy president of all time. He hears you. He simply doesn't care. Well, I'm glad she said that he's the most social media savvy president of all time. Because he probably is. Here's the thing, because he's obsessed with social media, in my opinion. But here's the thing. That just further proves that he's the one who posted those pictures of Michelle and Barack on the monkeys, with the monkey bodies. He's the one that did that. Okay. Sitting there talking about it was a staffer. They never said who the staffer was, if they got any sort of consequences, because they know Trump did it. Now, Marjorie Taylor Greene says, well, this is after they said something about him being tone deaf. Marjorie Taylor Greene responds to that saying, correct. And then they intentionally post Q nods and laugh about how MAGA eats it up. Wake up. You've been brainwashed, just like she once was. Now, Rich Barris, the People's Pundit, said, from November 3rd of 2024 to February 2nd of 2026, Trump's approval rating among women swung 19.0%. Women 18 to 29 who care a great deal about how the Epstein file situation was handled displayed the largest net swing at 38.2%. It's worse today, too. Stay tuned. Okay. I find it all interesting. But if you thought that was interesting, where do you get a load of this? I want y'all to pay attention. Okay, I want you all to pay attention. First off, check this out. I want y'all to check this out. They've been playing in our faces, beloveds. Now, this is the aerial view of a stadium. Okay, I was looking this stuff up. Now, stadiums are ritual energy extraction sites. The NFL stadiums below are all seeing eyes. Okay, please pay attention. How they use our things for nefarious purposes. Now, imagine these stadiums being full of cheering people, excited, right, and having a good time, sending colossal amounts of competitive, worshiping, idolizing energy and vibrations through the eyes, all over the country simultaneously, and projecting it into the universe. You see, it's a satanic ritual. Do y'all hear this? I want y'all to pay attention. Now, hold on. Let's talk about what their explanation is for this. Oh, because they give an explanation. They give an explanation because I typed in, why do football stadiums need to install energy harvesters? They said this, they install these energy harvesters such as solar panels. Let me just share this on the screen. So you all can see. This is all nefarious. All nefarious, okay? I want y'all to pay attention. Now, I'll be doing real research. Now, football stadiums install energy harvesters such as solar panels, kinetic floor tiles, and geothermal systems, primarily to reduce massive energy consumption and to slash operating costs and meet substantiability goals. These systems turn high-volume event day electricity demands into green renewable power, often feeding excess energy back into the grid. Okay? While harvesting people's energy at the same damn time. How y'all like that? How do y'all like that? Okay? Isn't that crazy? Okay, Barillas Lou said, yeah, right. Exactly. Okay, that's the excuse they give. But hold on. There's more. There's absolutely more. Measure Man says, Queen, look at the University of Utah where Charlie Kirk was. Area view, it's very disgusting. Not just an eye pentagram. Google has it blurred. I'm sure they do. Nothing they do surprises me at this point, beloved. And thank you for your insight to the topic and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. But hold on, wait, there's more. What about the baseball diamonds? Okay. What about the baseball diamonds? Now, you see that? Does that look familiar? Does that remind y'all of anything? Does that remind y'all of anything? How about now? Y'all see that? The devils have been playing in our faces. Now, I want you to think about it. Now, you're saying, what does any of this, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, what does any of this have to do with Baal worship? I'm glad you asked. Football, baseball, basketball, Baal. That's who they worship, and now that's who you worship. Some of y'all, anyway, specifically the men. Baal worship. Y'all worship football, basketball, and baseball, sports. And also, I told you all years ago that in the times of the Roman gladiators, they used sports to distract people from political things that were going on behind closed doors they didn't want them to know about. They still do that now. They still do it now. Are y'all paying attention yet? Are y'all paying attention yet? Hold on. Check this out. Now, I thought this was so juicy when I figured this out. Okay, see what this is right here? This is the capital of the United States. And what's over the capital of the United States? It's the how do you pronounce it? The Minerva owl, the Freemason Minerva owl. Drake has an owl too, by the way. We know what he's into, allegedly. But yeah, this is the Freemason Minerva owl. Okay, so y'all see that? Now, right over the Capitol, and it extends over just a bit further. Y'all see this? Look at there. Right in our faces, okay? Right in our faces. Now, this is the pentagram. This too is in Washington, D.C., covering these streets right here. Okay, please pay attention. Now, you see how they play in our faces? I want y'all to pay attention because, you know, I told you all years ago about Balenciaga and how they had an ad where they spelled Balenciaga B-A-A-L instead of B-A-L like it's supposed to be spelled. And then people started saying that the name Balenciaga meant Baal is king. And they said, oh, that's false. That's not what it means. Okay, then people started accusing them of objectifying children and other things. And they said, oh, no, we're not doing any of that. How dare you? What are you people talking about? Well, they had to come out and issue an apology that nobody bought, at least nobody with sense, because I showed you all this. I had time, but I didn't feel like doing it. Going to dig up that old video that I did. If you all remember, those of you who've been following, there's an old video I did and I zoomed in and I showed you all in one of their ads. If you zero in, you find the law about corn, about child corn in a Balenciaga ad for children's items. Why was it there? Why would they need to put that there? These people are crazy. Okay? These people are crazy. All demonic. Balenciaga had warning tape in one of their PDF and demonic ads, spelling out their name as Balenciaga or Balenciaga. Okay? This is a run-on sentence in Latin. So hold on, let me show you all this on the screen. Let me show you all this on the screen. These people just keep lying. Do they think people aren't going to do the research? Well, they know most people aren't because most people don't even like to read or research. But us smart people, we love it. It's a hobby to us. We do it for free. Okay, so please pay attention. Now, that all being said, Balenciaga had warning tape in one of their PDF file and demonic ads spelling their name as Balenciaga. Now, this is a run-on sentence in Latin. Let's simply separate the sentence. Baal, Aga. Translated in English, Baal is king. So they can miss us with it. Okay, they can miss us with it. Yes, demons are real, and the folks at Balenciaga are demon worshipers. This is no joke. Open your eyes. Because the people have forsaken me and have profaned this place by making offerings in it to other gods, whom neither they nor their fathers nor the kings of Judah have known, and because they have filled this place with the blood of innocents, and that would be those children and those babies specifically. I want y'all to pay attention. These demons are going down. They're not going to keep getting away with this, okay? They are not going to keep getting away with this. Satan, your time is up. All right, and have built the high places of Baal to burn their sons in the fire as burnt offerings to Baal, which I did not command or decree, nor did it come into my mind. Jeremiah 19th verse or 19th chapter, 4th through 5th verse. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. Now here's where it gets tricky. See, they start getting caught in their lies. Balenciaga has courted controversy in the recent ad campaigns involving, among other things, images of children holding handbags made to look like teddy bears in sexual bondage gear and photos of paperwork about child corn laws. Yeah, I reported this to you all about 6 years ago. The brand issued a series of apologies, as did both its CEO and lead designer. First of all, don't apologize because you're not sorry. You did this deliberately. Do you know how many chains of people these things have to go through before they're cleared to be put out in public? Okay, so they could miss us with it. The lead designer, okay, you had to have been in on this. The CEO, well, definitely, and others as well. So the apology just simply is disingenuous. Now, the controversy led to claims that Balenciaga's name in Latin is Baal for king. Okay, so we already know all of that, but I want you all to pay attention. Okay, these devils have been playing in our faces. Okay, you're sitting up here worshiping Baal. They have us sitting up here. Let me just tell y'all something that's so sick and it really ticks me off the more I think about it. So, if these allegations about the eating of people, the cannibalism is true, and I absolutely believe that they are, those children, the Hempstead twins, they said that they were eating children, right? Didn't they say that? And then they said that it was taken, the rest of the meat was taken to McDonald's. You know who else said that? Rabbi Finkelstein. He said that like at least 2 decades ago. It was about 2 decades ago. Okay? About 2 decades ago, and I never ate McDonald's again. Okay? I never ate it again. How disgusting. So you mean to tell me these devils have had us unwittingly participating in their satanic rituals and worshiping their wicked, nefarious deities? Okay? I want y'all to pay attention. Do you know how sick this is? And I'm going to tell you something. Here's the problem. Some people will continue to do these things even when they find out. But it would behoove you to not do those things because these things are abomination to the Most High. And so if you don't know these things, that's one thing. But when you know, you can't keep doing these things and think you're not going to have consequences, is all I'm saying. Okay, please pay attention. This is all egregious. These people are absolutely nefarious. Okay? Oh, and I just forgot to tell you all this. Damn. I wish I had gotten those Super Bowl commercials. Those Super Bowl ads. Let's talk about it. Did y'all, how many of you saw the Super Bowl ads? Once in the chat. Let me see if I can pull those up real quick. Hold on, beloveds. How many of you paid attention to the Super Bowl ads? They were playing in our faces, people. And I meant to tell y'all this. But I got so caught up with these files and doing my research on that, it slipped my mind. Hold on. Those nefarious Super Bowl ads. Give me just a second, beloved. Beloveds, hold on. Hold on, I just have like a couple more. I got 2 of them sent. Hold on. Here we go. Hold on, beloveds. Somebody, one of the moderators, please also remind me to tell you all about Tom Brady. Something about Tom Brady. I forgot about him too, honey. I got so many receipts on stuff. I can't keep track. Hold on. It's one more ad. Let me think what this one is about. Oh, yeah. Okay. Let me see here. Hold on, beloveds. I can't find one of them. Where's this last one at? And why can't I find it? Okay, so I can't find the last one that I'm looking for, but I remember what it was about, so I'll just tell you about that. Hold on, let me pull up this Tom Brady thing too while I'm doing this. Ooh, honey, this is all nefarious. Hold on. Tom Brady needs to sit all the way down. Okay, now, so let's get into it. Let's get into it. Timeless says, take your time. Thank you, beloved. But you know how funny it is that you're the one that told me to take my time? Your name is literally Timeless. Okay? All right, so now I'm going to share these on the screen. You all have got to see this because, see, here's the thing. The devils don't want us paying attention. But see, the thing is, they have to show us things, right? They have to put things out there. But in this case, they were playing in our faces. Okay, let me see what order I want to show these in. Hold on. Let me pull this one up. Okay. Okay, here we go. Let's get into it. I'm going to share my screen. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you all the commercial that I couldn't find. It was and I'm going to put overlays over this just in case because I don't want Screw to give me any copyright claims. But the commercial that I couldn't find was an ad about AI and about AI being dangerous. So they were saying the husband was telling the wife he didn't trust the AI and he's like, you think it's all fun or whatever, but we wake up in the middle of the night and it's trying to kill us. And so she's trying to convince him he's not going for it. And then the wife leaves out of the room. The wife and daughter leave out of the room. And then the guy is in there with the AI by himself. And the AI says, well, how about a massage? You look like you need a massage. And he's like, now he's smiling and now he's cool with AI. And I want you to pay attention because that's Jeffrey Epstein. They're playing in our faces. Jeffrey Epstein was getting those girls to give him sexual massages. That's how he lured them in to begin with, him and Ghislaine, right? So they brought up the massages. Now, just one thing by itself doesn't really mean anything to me. But when you add up all of these commercials together, I clearly see that they were playing in our faces, okay, from the get-go. So let's go to this one. Let me see what this one is here. Make sure. Okay, pay attention to this. So you got the one about the AI offering a massage.
Tired of boys.
Hold on. Let me put my overlay on this. Now pay attention.
I need a man.
A Pringles commercial. She said I need a man.
Pringle Leo.
Guarda che luna.
Oh, shoot. Hold on. I'm sorry, beloveds. I accidentally did that. Hold on. Let me go back to it. Hold on just a second. Now, she said she needed a man. And then, hold on. I'm going to mute the volume on this too because I think they're playing some kind of music on here. Hold on. Okay, so she said she needed a man. And then as you can see, this is a Pringles commercial. And then she started to create a man out of the Pringles. Okay, now watch this. So I'm just going to mute it because we don't really need to hear it. We just need to see what's going down. So that way I can take this overlay off. Now she needs a man. Pay attention. Creating the man out of Pringles, stacking them up. Now, did y'all catch that? Somebody let me know if you caught it. Somebody put it in the chat if you caught that. Somebody please put it in the chat if you caught that. Did anybody catch what that meant? Has anybody figured that out? Has anybody figured that out? Do y'all know what that means? That's cannibalism. That was her boyfriend. His head falls off and now he's dead. They all jump him. His body falls apart and now they're all feasting on him. And she's looking horrified until she tastes him. Eating people. Exactly. Cannibalism. That's the second thing. Because like I said, one of these things doesn't really make a big deal. But when you start adding them all up. Okay, now watch this. This is all nefarious. And you have to really be paying attention to catch these things. Okay, here's the next one. I'm going to share my screen again. This is the one with Scarlett Johansson. Hold on. Erica Kirk is John Benet Ramsey. No, John Benet Ramsey's dead, honey. And Ghislaine Maxwell likely had something to do with it because there's a picture of Ghislaine Maxwell at one of those beauty pageants with John Benet Ramsey. I showed that years ago. I know I showed that years ago. And also John Benet Ramsey is in these Epstein files. Yeah, she is. I just haven't gotten to that yet because I got so many receipts. I can't get to everything. We'll talk about that maybe tomorrow, if not the next day. But yeah, I've already found the receipts on that. She's not dead. I mean, she's not Erica Kirk. She's dead. Now, this is the commercial with Scarlett Johansson. Now, let's see if y'all can catch this.
It's party time.
The holdup is
Ritz commercial. Now, do y'all notice anything about this? I know y'all noticed this. I know y'all noticed this. They're on an island. They're having a party on an island. Okay? They're having a party on an island. All right? Now, what I thought was interesting is that they had the party on the island, but they also had Ritz crackers. Why would they have that for a Ritz cracker commercial? Is it because most of the people that went to that island were white men? I just have questions. Okay? I just have so many questions. Okay? Christian Jack said, per study, cannibalism throughout ascension. Absolutely. It's low vibrational. How could it not, beloved? Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, with that all being said, let's continue because we have one more. And this one is the most nefarious to me. This one is absolutely the most nefarious. I'm not going to play the audio, so that way I don't have to add the overlay and you all can just see it for yourselves. Y'all notice anything? Y'all got to notice this. Y'all got to notice this. That's Nerds candy. That's a Nerds commercial. Remember we ate those as kids? Okay? I honestly didn't know they still made Nerds. I did not know they still made them. Now, here's my question. Let me go back to the beginning of this. Let me stop right there. Anybody notice anything about this? There you go, just anticipate. God dang it, Epstein. Do y'all notice that Andy Cohen looks like Epstein? Never noticed that he looks like Epstein. Yeah. Andy Cohen from Bravo TV. They have him in a Nerds commercial. Why would Andy Cohen be in a Nerds commercial? Nerds are for children. And in this video, in this commercial, they have the nerds running around like children. Look at it. Look at it. See how the nerds are just running around the pool and all that, having a good old time? But hold on, I want you to pay attention to something else too. There's one part I forgot to point out. Watch this. See the tape measure? They put the tape measure around the nerd, and then they gave him some fashion. Now, you know why that's interesting? Because this could be a reach. I'm not sure. But the reason I paid attention to that is, let me see if I still have this. Hopefully I didn't delete it, because this is something I meant to show you all last week, but I forgot. And I'm hoping I didn't delete it accidentally. Hold on. Ah, here it is. Here it is. Now let's go to this Epstein file. Now I want you all to notice that you first of all had a commercial with a man who didn't like AI until the AI offered him a massage. Then all of a sudden he's smiling, he's in a good mood. Okay, before he was upset about it. Then you had Scarlett Johansson on an island having a party with Ritz crackers. Okay, and then you had the video with the Pringles, or the commercial with the Pringles, Cannibalism. Then you had Andy Cohen looking all like Jeffrey Epstein with a Nerds commercial with nerds running around like children. But also they put a tape measure around that big nerd, the one that was the biggest, and gave him some fashion. Okay, so let's go to this Epstein file. Let's go to this Epstein file here. It's 3 pages. I don't remember exactly where the part I'm looking for is, so I may have to go through the whole thing. But listen to this. I found this last week, and I don't know how I forgot to. I don't think I read this to you all. This was dated September the 4th of 2019. Now listen to this. Blank, blank, male Caucasian, blank, blank, after being advised of the identity of the interviewing agent and task force officer as the nature of the interview, blank provided the following information. Okay, it's a lot redacted. Then it says initial conversation and mannerism suggested some degree of possible mental illness or emotional instability, although blank was polite and well-mannered. Now, the basis of this interview was predicated on an email sent to the office of the ADIC FBI New York Field Office Criminal Division by former FBI SA blank blank on July the 12th of 2019. I think Epstein was arrested in August of 2019. Now, the email referred to a request that Bureau personnel contact an investigative journalist, friend of blank, Michael Moore, not the film producer, they say, not to be mistaken with the one who does the documentaries, via blank regarding an interview of a purported victim of Jeffrey Epstein. Now, the author made phone contact with Moore, and an interview was scheduled at the C20 office on Tuesday, August 27th of 2019 for 12 p.m. Moore stated that the alleged victim, blank, was traveling via bus from Rhode Island to New York field office. Okay, the author met with Moore and blank, and Moore stated that he would not be present during the scheduled interview. They had it listed as confidential. Blank stated that he first met Epstein at approximately age 4 while at the blank East Greenwich, okay, Rhode Island. Blank stated that his family were members of the blank, and blank stated at that time he was R-worded and taken to Sodom and Gomorrah by his great uncle, and that Epstein was present and did not touch him. Blank stated that after he was R-worded by his great uncle, blank, blank, Epstein then spoke with him, blank. Blank stated that he did not know the identity of Epstein until some unspecified time in 2016. Blank further stated in sum and substance that while on a large luxury ship that sailed out of the Newport Boat Show in Newport, Rhode Island, September blank. Now, I wonder why they redacted the date. Now, at approximately 8 years of age, he, blank, was subjected to some type of medical exam about the yacht by unknown doctor while his great uncle blank blank and family member blank were present. Blank went on to describe a bizarre event in which blank blank inserted, now listen to this, because you just saw that big nerd with a tape measure, Andy Cohen looking all like Jeffrey Epstein, nerds running around like children. But pay attention, because you saw the tape measure, right? Now, this is what the young man said, that at the age of 8, they did some sort of bizarre, he went on to describe some sort of bizarre event in which blank blank inserted a tape measure into his back door. Do y'all hear this? They put a tape measure up the child's back door. An 8-year-old child's back door. What in the hell would they be doing that for? I think we all already know. I think we all already know. Isn't this crazy? Isn't this crazy? Now, goes on to say, Blake stated subsequent to the exam, he was then R-worded and taken to Sodom and Gomorrah by Jeffrey Epstein, as well as former United States President William J. Clinton, while in a heavy rug-induced state. Blank also stated the bottoms of his feet and back, this is also said, were slashed. Now that's important to note. He says they were slashed. And the reason that's important to note is because that's part of the ritual. They slashed him with this thing that looks like a sword, but it's curved. Okay, I forgot the name of it because I told you all about it before. But nonetheless, says his feet were slashed. Blank further stated, also during the said yacht trip, multiple unknown male blacks were engaged, and he said blacks, not Africans, were engaged in acts with unknown white females who had their backs slashed and were bleeding. Blank also described several infants being killed and their intestines removed, as well as other acts of cannibalism. Also stated that former United States President George H.W. Bush engaged in an act with an unknown male black. Talking about black people ain't involved in this. Y'all better wake your asses up. They had black male children. Do y'all hear this? And girls, because Sasha Riley said that there was a black girl by about the age of 12 named Samantha, whom he witnessed them torture her to death. And a little girl named Sarah who couldn't take it and took her own life. This is all so sad. How can anybody not be upset and not want to do something? But let me continue. So it goes on to say that H.W. Bush engaged in an act with an unknown male black. Former United States Secretary of State Henry Kissinger and businessman George Soros. Okay, George Soros changed his last name, but he's one of those people that we're not supposed to talk about, were present on the same yacht while all of the aforementioned acts of violence were occurring. Blank was then asked if he had any injuries, okay, or scars as evidence, to which Blank responded, "On my back door." Blank was unable to provide any supporting or corroborating evidence or the identities of any witnesses to support his claim of victimization. Here's the thing, though. You know what's interesting? Because they say they didn't have anyone to corroborate what he said, right? But here's how you know that they probably know these people are telling the truth. Because if you didn't believe them, or if you had questions, why do you go ask the people that they accused? Not that those people would admit to it. Of course, they're going to lie and say they don't know what he's talking about. He's crazy. But the fact of the matter is these people were never even investigated. They were never even investigated, okay, at the end of the day. Goes on to say, no one to support his claim of victimization. Blank did Blake did provide a handwritten list of his family and extended family members, and it was not clear what investigative value, if any, the list had, because they didn't investigate it. Blake also stated that his great uncle, Blake, is in possession of video evidence of his crimes against Blake, as well as several snuff films that Blake had watched in the presence of his great uncle, Blake. This is all so crazy. Now, years ago, when I saw that movie called 8 Millimeters, starring Nicolas Cage, I had no idea that that was based off of a true story, or true stories, shall I say. I literally had no idea. Okay, this is all egregious. This is absolutely egregious. What do you all have to say about it? What do you all have to say about this? You see how they've been playing in our faces? You see how they're mocking us. For them to have those Super Bowl ads, they are clearly mocking us and the files. Like they feel like nothing's going to happen, but something is going to happen. Y'all are not getting away with this. Okay, you're not getting away with this. And hold on, I meant to show you all this yesterday as well, where Lee Greenwood is on CBS, with these Bibles that he's, I guess, promoting for Trump. He said he brought all of them one, and Trump is selling Bibles yet again. Another grift.
And this is something everybody needs in their home. GodBlessUSABible.com. You can get one of these for Easter. Give it as a gift. I have one for all of you. Thank
you. Thank you. Sweet of you. What so much.
Thank you. And this is something.
He needs to sit down somewhere. Okay, y'all hear that? Talking about how sweet of you. Nothing sweet about a devil. And the funny thing is, I actually used to like Lee Greenwood. I actually used to like him until I saw that he was hanging out with the likes of Donald Trump. And I won't say I liked Lee Greenwood. What I should say is that I liked his song, Proud to Be an American. And here's the thing. I was, hold on. This is something else I wanted to show you all. I forgot to upload this. And I'm going to have to do my due diligence and see if in fact, if in fact this man here is in the Epstein files. Hold on, I'm trying to upload this. Okay, I got it. Okay, let me add this to the screen. Wait a minute, why is it not showing up? Hold on, honey. Hold on, beloveds. I'm having some technical difficulties. I don't know what's going on with this computer. What's going on here? Hold on. That's interesting. Okay, I think this might be it right here. Let me see. Oh, okay. I know what I'm doing. Okay, I'm sorry. It's not uploading because I'm trying to put it where a video belongs, and it's not a video. It's just a picture, so I have to put it somewhere else. That was an accident. Okay. Now, hold on. Let me pull this up. See, remember how I told you these people that are supposed to be such good Samaritans and all that? Look at him. He looks like the devil himself. Look at him holding this poor child that's crying. Clearly doesn't want to be anywhere near him. Okay, in 2019, Peter John Daglish, former United Nations, another person in politics and high government ranking, okay, chief and founder of UNICEF, was arrested on child R-wording charges in Nepal. Now, during his arrest, 2 young children were rescued from his custody. Respected humanitarian. See, they always come out acting like they're missionaries and mercenaries and all that. Okay, he was awarded the Order of Canada for his work with disadvantaged children. That's another thing they do. They pretend to be such proponents of helping the poor little downtrodden, disadvantaged children. That's what they do. This is some sick stuff. Like, this is really making my stomach sick. Because now we're starting to see that foster care, child protective services, DCF, daycares, schools, people who work at, or people who, organizations that do things at schools, like the people who take the pictures, the people who make the textbooks. How the hell are all of these people involved? Ooh, honey, Danielle is never lying. Danielle says spiritual wickedness in high places. Yeah, we don't wrestle against flesh. Okay, see, spiritual wickedness in high places. These people are devils and demons, and that's just a fact. Okay, they are not like us, beloveds. They absolutely are not. Now, with that being said, let's go to Tom Brady. Let's go to Tom Brady. Now, I'm going to keep the audio off on this because this is actually a clip from a documentary. I don't want any problems. So I'm not going to play the audio. You don't need to hear the audio. I just need you to see what Tom Brady does. And I'll tell you what he says. Okay, so he's getting a massage. Now, they say he's naked, but he's not actually naked. He has on pants or a towel. He has something on. It looks like pants. Okay, so watch his son come in the room. His son asks him, can he play some game or no, can he check his analytics or check something? And then Tom says, what do I get? So the son gives him a kiss. Let's stop right there. The son gives Tom a kiss. Nothing wrong there, right? No harm, no foul. But then Tom says, that was just a peck. That was just a peck. So the little boy comes back. Watch this. He doesn't want to, you can tell. Gives him a longer kiss. And immediately wipes his mouth. He immediately wipes his mouth.
What they thought.
Now I'm going to let you hear what people said who watched this clip. Because at first I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. I said, you know, some parents kiss their kids on the mouth. Okay, some parents kiss their kids on the mouth. And even in Italy, that's like a common thing. That's part of their culture. So I'm like, there's nothing to see here, folks. Just kiss the son. And then the son came back. He wanted him to give him another longer kiss. Tell me that's just a peck. So then the son comes and gives him the longer kiss, which kind of grossed me out a little bit. And you could tell the son didn't want to do it. The way he turned around, he seemed annoyed, and then he wiped his mouth off immediately. So here's the problem with that, in my opinion. It's just like when Will Smith used to try to force his son, Jaden, to give him a kiss on the mouth, and Jaden didn't want to. See, I don't like stuff like that, because to me, that's inappropriate. If you want to kiss your children on the mouth as they get older, and they're no longer toddlers and things, well, the children should be willing. And if they're not willing, then you shouldn't force them to do it. If the children want to kiss you on the mouth, but you should not be forcing your child to kiss you on the mouth, because clearly that makes them uncomfortable for some reason. Okay, so I thought that was just not appropriate. But let's hear what the public had to say about it after they witnessed the clip. I'm going to go back just a little bit.
New Yorkers, what they thought.
I'm a little uncomfortable with that.
I think at a certain age, it's like, okay, you can kiss him on the cheek, you can give him a hug, you know, but not in the mouth and not for that long.
Too long, like romantic long.
He's laying there naked getting a massage too.
So that makes it weird?
Yeah.
I kiss my son on my lips. I have since day one. You know, I would have no problem with my son kissing me like that.
Lifestyle and parenting expert Liz Stern says she doesn't see anything wrong.
If you kiss your kids too much, it's the wrong thing. If you kiss your kids too little, it's the wrong thing. If you hug too much, it's the wrong thing. Or, you know, I think people need to back off and just stop parent shaming.
Of the people we spoke to, no one questioned Tom Brady's intentions toward his child, but they did seem to question the message he's sending with his actions.
I don't think affection should ever be tied in with a favor.
Carolyn Meyer-Wortels is a licensed clinical social worker and parenting expert. She says when it comes to physical touch, the message we send our children should be clear.
You don't do anything with your body because someone else is insisting that you do it in order for you to get what you want.
Even if the person insisting is mom or dad.
That's right. That's right. The children should be willing to do it. You should not be forcing them. I always thought Will Smith was weird doing that to his child, trying to force him to kiss you on the mouth. And he didn't want to, and he was old enough to know whether or not he wanted to. And I just felt like it was all totally inappropriate. And the same thing with Tom Brady. That little boy didn't want to do that. He wiped his mouth off immediately. Okay, he wiped his mouth off immediately. But also, what that lady said at the end, absolutely. She said you should not be teaching your children, you know, that if they want something, then you got to give up something about your body. You see, that's how people can start grooming your children. Now, I'm not saying Tom Brady had anything, you know, nefarious going on with his son, but I thought that was inappropriate. But at the end of the day, he should not be telling his son stuff like that, because then the son can be out there in the real world, and then some freak or pervert, right, can say something to him, offer him candy, money, anything, and say, well, you let me do this, I can do this. And he might say, well, I don't want to do it. But then think about that he really wants whatever he's being offered, and that how his dad tells him the same sort of things. Okay? So you have to be very careful. And also, some of these things that we're saying are inappropriate may have been appropriate decades ago, but we have to remember the world is evolving. Things are ever changing. Okay? When we were growing up, there was no internet. No social media, shall I say. There was no social media, and people were not, basically able to just groom your kids online and things like that, pretending to be other people and whatnot, okay? When the people said men don't kiss, B1 men don't kiss boys in the mouth. I mean, it was a bit much. Okay, so now with that all being said, let's move right along because I have some more things for you. And goodness gracious, it's almost the 2-hour mark, so I'm gonna have to speed it up. It's my fault for getting on here late. Okay, because I wanted to get done a little bit earlier, but it's okay. Now, here's what I have to say. Hold on, I'm going to pull this up. I'm going to go to a Fox News report in a minute because I want to hear what they have to say about this. But we're going to go to this this first report that I have from WFAA News 8. Okay, so some of you remember, please put a 1 in the chat if you remember me telling you all a few years ago about a little black boy who was 13 years old. He was bullied at school and then by some white students. And then so they made up with him, or they pretended to apologize. They pretended to be sorry. And then they invited him to a sleepover at one of their houses. When he got there, they made him drink urine. How many of you remember that story? How many of you remember that story? One's in the chat if you remember that story. Hey, Sweet Butters. Thank you, beloved. Said, take your time, Queen. So guess what happened with that story? Guess what happened with that story, honey? Y'all are not going to like this, okay? Because I darn sure didn't like it. So what happened is the mom, she was, basically trying to get justice for her son. She said that was racism. Of course it was racism. We know it was. He was the only black kid there. They'd already bullied him in school. Then they came and pretended to make up and wanted him to come there, but they only wanted to do it so they could further bully and humiliate him. Here's what happened. I'm going to share my screen. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, so you all remember. Good. Now, here we go. Check this out. Then I'm going to go to what Fox News had to say about it because I know they're going to be talking smack.
Bullying case in Plano that made national headlines. A mom accused a group of teenagers of forcing her son to drink a cup of urine. Now,
mind you, this happened in Plano, Texas, and it's supposedly very racist there, as I recall, because I've done at least 2 or 3 stories that happened there. Okay, but let's continue.
She owes one of them more than $1 million. Cole Sullivan is live in our newsroom with the story. Cole?
Cynthia, this case led to protests in the streets of Plano and demands for change at Plano ISD. For the first time tonight, we're hearing from one of the teenagers accused of racially motivated bullying. Now 19, he just won a $3.2 million civil judgment against the mom who accused him and her lawyer. It started with this video of a group of boys at a birthday sleepover party. We've blurred it because they were middle schoolers at the time, but it shows one of them drinking from a cup the boys say has urine in it. Outrage followed. But now, 5 years later, there's a civil verdict in the case. A jury found in favor of Asher Van and ruled the mom who accused him of bullying and her lawyer intentionally inflicted emotional distress and publicized his private information.
Now, isn't that about a bitch? Do y'all hear this? Do you all hear this? Chris says, why did the mom allow him to go over there? Did she not fear of them in social studies class? Okay, I will not say that. I would not have believed their apology, let alone allowed my child. Well, here's the thing. The mother probably didn't know that incident happened at school. She probably didn't know. Kids don't always come home and tell us when they're being bullied. So maybe he didn't tell the mom and she just let him go. But honey, let me tell you something. When my boys were young, they were not allowed to go to spend the nights with anybody. Not with anybody unless they were a relative. Okay. Other than that, no. If your friends want to see you, they can spend the night in your house where I'm in charge, where I know what's going on. Okay, but not to anyone else's house, no. So, some parents, they just let their kids go spend the night in places willy-nilly. And specifically with people like this, hell no. Hell to the no. Okay, absolutely not.
It was immature. It was stupid. It was nasty. But that's not who I am, and that's not me today.
Defending my son was what I should have done, and I would defend my son still.
That's Summer Smith, the mom and defendant in this civil case. She says there's not much she would have done differently at the time, and she plans to appeal the ruling. Her lawyer told me, quote, "This entire verdict runs afoul of anything decent or just." Coming up tonight at 10, we'll hear more from both sides of this story, and we'll have the questions about what happened to the thousands of GoFundMe dollars raised in this case when we see you at 10.
Now, okay, that is real crazy. And I find it all interesting because here's the thing. I'm going to tell you right now, honey, if that were me, he wouldn't get a damn dime. I promise you that. He wouldn't get a damn dime. Okay, and he wouldn't be able to garnish any damn thing because, honey, I promise you, if I had a job, I'd quit. Whatever I had in my name, I would take it out of my name. Okay, I'm not going to say what name I put it in, but it wouldn't be mine. He wouldn't get a damn thing. Okay, please, miss me with it. I'm going to pay you, please. Okay, and here's the thing. Rather than the mother just protesting, she should have sued them. Why not? Someone's bullying your kids, sue the parents. If the person's underage, she should have sued every last one of those parents for emotional infliction, intentional infliction of emotional distress, punitive damages, and all of the above. That's absolutely crazy. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. Now let's go to this Fox News report and see what they have to say about it. Because I know they're probably going to just be, I haven't seen this. I literally just saw it when I pulled up the other video. So let's get into it, honey. This is all nefarious.
A 13-year-old black student, Samarian Humphrey, claimed his white friend, Asher Van, shot him with BB guns and forced him to drink urine at a sleepover. Now, the story made a lot of headlines, being called race-based bullying. A Black Lives Matter group, of course, got involved. As police and school officials investigated the case, though, it began to unravel. The full story wasn't adding up. Van was never formally charged, and instead he brought a civil suit against Humphrey's mother, Summer.
Y'all see this? He was never formally charged. So now I'm wondering, did the mother try to press charges on them and they wouldn't allow her to? I have to wonder. I'm going to look into that. Hold on while you all watch this.
Smith. Now, 5 years later, a jury has awarded Van $3.2 million in damages, finding Smith inflicted emotional distress and invaded his privacy. Asher Van, who is now in college, his father, Aaron, and their attorney, Justin Nichols, join me now. Thank you all for being with me here today. Asher, I'm sure this has been a long 5 years. How do you feel today?
I feel different. I don't feel so scared and so little as I did back then. I feel like I'm getting heard from. I feel like people will understand me and people will listen to me and help me.
You're still a piece of ish, okay? Because here's the thing. Though he was in middle school, he knew what the hell he was doing. They all did. Okay? They all did. At the end of the day, they all knew what they were doing. And it was racially motivated bullying. Please miss me with it. They just get on my last nerve trying to lie about their ish. But let's continue.
Me climb up this uphill battle.
The allegations at the time were you and your buddies coordinated this in sort of a racist bullying incident, shot him with BB guns, made him drink urine. What really happened?
That's not what happened at all, actually. We went hunting for frogs. We had big jackets on, so, dumb kids. We each took shots at each other like a Nerf war, except with airsoft guns. Then after he fell asleep, and way before that, we all agreed whoever falls asleep first gets pranked. And he got pranked, and it was nasty, but it was not like this big racial torture that.
Quiere arreglar sus papeles, pero ha escuchado que no califica.
Played out to be.
Yes, it was. He's lying. I don't care what he says. He's absolutely lying. And how you know he's lying is because, first of all, like I said, they were already bullying that boy in school the day before. They were already bullying him the day before. I wish that he had told his mom. I don't think he told his mother till after the fact. But had he told his mother about the bullying prior, then maybe that would have made the connection so they couldn't just try to say, oh, no, it's not racially motivated. Because why the hell were y'all bullying him in school? Why were y'all white kids bullying this little black kid in school? And also, let's not forget the little 13-year-old black boy who was bullied in middle school as well by white kids, and they were throwing bananas at him like he was a monkey when he was in the football locker room. Okay. Also, let me just tell you all another story that I saw Dr. Rashard Ritchie report on. I think it was yesterday. He was talking about a black teen who was getting bullied at his basketball game by the white kids calling him the N-word. And so he reacted, as who wouldn't. He got upset and he went over and said something or whatever, and they took him out of the game, and now he's suspended. But the white kids, they're not saying if they got any punishment. They didn't get any punishment. And the other part about it was the white parents were laughing when he got escorted. They were like cheering, basically, when he got escorted off the court. They were cheering. Okay? They were cheering when he got escorted off of the court and laughing. And the young man told his mother that hurt his feelings. Okay? They didn't get any punishment, but he got suspended. I want y'all to pay attention. This is how it goes down in the United States.
And there is a video of the incident that has come out, and that video been out for quite a while. Shows, I believe, and I'm trying to characterize this accurately, exactly what you described, which is that Samarian did drink after you guys woke him up. What was some concoction of apple juice, some urine, but he didn't really drink it. He kind of put it up to his mouth. But the point is, he moved on. He laughed. And in fact, for 2 weeks, you guys kind of all just went about your business the same way you went into it. As friends?
Yes, sir. As friends.
All right. Aaron, what happened after that? Then how did it change?
About 2 weeks after that, I was on a business meeting. I got a call from my son, and apparently not Asher, but one of the other friends and Samarian had gotten into an argument playing video games online, and one of them decided to go ahead and take the video that was posted, unbeknownst to Asher even existing, and send it to a friend who sent it to a friend, and then it turned into an absolute social media nightmare.
So it starts spreading around the high school.
Yes.
At some point, it gets into the hands of Samarian's mother.
Right, correct. And Samarian's mother didn't reach out. She didn't talk to us. She immediately went to the school and called.
Why the hell would she reach out to you all? Why the hell would she reach out to their racist asses? They're the ones that taught their son to be that way. You can look at him and tell he's a whole racist, honey. I can look at him and tell. Okay? And his son is too. So at the end of the day, why would he think that she's obligated to reach out to him? I'd have gone to the police. Damn the school. Okay? I'd have gone to the police.
For action, wanted Asher to be expelled for what took place, and it all started unraveling very, very quickly after that.
What did it feel like at the time? It's really a question for both of you, but I have to imagine as a father, this media circus unfolds around you. Protesters, hundreds, I believe, marched to your house.
Now, see, they're acting like these people are the victims. You see how these devils do their ish and then play the victim? You see how they play these games and then play the victim? I'm so glad none of them ever tried anything like that with me. I'm so glad none of them ever tried anything like that with me back in the day when I was in high school, baby, because you absolutely would have been a victim by the time I got done. Okay, please pay attention, honey. I would have rocked your snot box, in the words of Hassan Campbell. Okay, your TV might have got turned off. That's all I'm saying.
Samarian and his mother show up on Good Morning America, CNN, everywhere else, media tour. Black Lives Matter's involved. What did it feel like at the time?
You know, everything's happening all at once. You don't know what to do. You go into immediate protection mode and protecting your family. I wanted to get our story up, but I knew that there was a way to do that in an appropriate manner that wasn't trial by social media.
And ultimately, that does land over here with Justin and the case to, in part, rehabilitate or recover Asher's reputation. It ultimately ends up in a case for intentional infliction of emotional distress and invasion of
Our intentional infliction of emotional distress, that's what the little black boy should have been suing for. Okay, and see, here's the thing. This is why that little boy, he didn't tell his mom about that right away. He should have told his mom about that right away. Okay, but he probably wanted to fit in and just went along with it. Crazy work.
privacy. Just, I believe it is last fall, you get awarded, the case took place last fall. The award is very recent, $3.2 million.
That's right.
Tell me, and I've seen what the jury came back and said, I've seen the jury's decisions. Tell me what this meant in trial, what you guys argued, what was actually done to Asher.
Sure. Unlike the opportunity that we weren't given 5 years ago, this was an opportunity to go step by step with the jury through the process of what really happened, what the investigation shows, the actual facts, and then how those facts were spun for publicity and profit by Ms. Smith and her attorney, all at the expense of these young boys.
And what was the racial makeup of the jury that awarded Asher $3.2 million?
I believe 5 members were African-American. There were 3 Asian members, 2 Latino members, and I believe the rest were Caucasian.
And they found that the way this story was portrayed, the way it was spun by Ms. Smith and her attorney, was an intentional infliction of emotional distress to Asher.
That's right. They found, in order to find intentional infliction, they had to find that Summer Smith and Kim Cole took facts that were not true and cast in false light and did it for a reason in order to cause him severe emotional distress. That's what they had to find.
I would love to read this to you. This is Summer Smith's statement to us here at Fox News. She says, the legal claims in this matter are for intentional infliction of emotional distress and invasion of privacy. It's important to note that this does not involve allegations of defamation or slander. Additionally, it's just as important to note that this decision will be appealed. I remain steadfast in my commitment to seeking justice for my son and will continue to fight vigorously on his behalf. What do you say, Justin?
Well, I want to be very clear. Defamation was part of it. It was not a claim because by the time we got to the lawsuit, Texas has a very short statute of limitations. So that claim could not be asserted. But we absolutely asserted that Kim Cole and Summer Smith had put falsities about Asher and other boys out into the public. And, this is emblematic of somebody who continues to refuse to accept responsibility. Throughout the case, throughout their depositions, and even on the stand, they continued to push this false narrative of racism that they know did not exist, that was untrue, and they continue to double down instead of finally taking some responsibility for hurting so many lives.
Isn't that something? You see how the devils flip the script? They turn the victims into the villains, and then the villains, play the victims. Y'all see that? How they flip the script and reverse the roles? I want y'all to pay attention. This could be your kids, okay? Please keep your kids away from devils. Okay, please keep them away from devils like these, okay? Y'all hear this?
Asher, last question to you. There's a famous saying, it's much older than you, and I don't expect you to know it, but it was from a New York politician some decades ago, and when it came to one of these cases, he said, now where do I go to get my reputation back? Today, you feel like you've been heard. Do you feel vindicated? Do you feel like your reputation has been restored? How do you feel about everything that has transpired?
No, I don't think that my reputation's been restored, and to be honest, I don't know when it will. I don't know if it ever will. But the people heard me and they fought for me, and all we could do is try to get it restored now. And we're all going to keep on trying and fighting for that.
All right. Asher and Aaron Van and Justin Nichols, thank you all for being with us here today.
Thanks so much, Will.
Okay.
I find it all so interesting. You would get a damn dime from me, baby. Okay, I would literally die before I gave them a damn dime. And that's on facts. I just wouldn't even do it. Please, miss me with all of it. Okay, so anyway, that's all crazy, right? But no surprise there. And in fact, she did try to press charges. It said that Summer Smith sought to press charges against the teenagers who bullied her 13-year-old son, Samarian Humphrey, by forcing him to drink urine during the February 2021 sleepover. However, the legal aftermath of the incident has taken a drastic turn, with a jury recently ruling that the mother must pay millions to one of the accused students. Let me tell you all something. They didn't have any defamation, libel, and slander claims. They convinced me with it, okay? They didn't have any. Because here's the thing. They said it was past the statute of limitations. Well, fact of the matter is, this was 5 years ago, right? So if they wanted to sue them for that, they could have done so. They knew the statute of limitations. They knew it. And by the fact that they waited 5 years, why do y'all think they waited 5 years? Why do you all think? One's in the chat. Or no, don't put ones in the chat, but put the answer in the chat. If you think you know the answer as to why they waited 5 years. Why y'all think they waited 5 years? Why do y'all think they waited 5 years to try to do something about this? And I hope his reputation is never restored, because he is who he is. He said, that's not who I am now. Okay, maybe you won't do that again because you don't want any consequences, but you're still a racist little demon as far as I'm concerned, with racist parents who taught you to be that way, in my opinion. Okay, age. Age has something to do with it, in my opinion, but that's not necessarily the answer. Here's the answer that I think. Now, this is just me speculating. I think that they decided to do this at this point in time because he was going to college. Y'all know how many times I've reported to you about these white students who are getting ready to go to college, and then all of a sudden they post something racist on social media, and now they're denied. Now they're denied. And let's not forget how colleges check your social media these days. I think that's why they did it. This young man's about to go to college. He can't have this out there saying that he's racist and that he did all of this and this big to-do. So let's take him to court. We've got to try to clear my name so I can get in college. That's what his dad likely told him. So you can get in college. Okay? And, you know, they probably also heard about the Kendrick Johnson story with Kendrick Johnson down there in Valdosta, Georgia, whose body was found rolled up in the gym mat. And they said, you know, he did it himself. But the two white students who were the last to see him alive, according to the reports, remember how the parents tried to sue them, or not sue them, but they accused them the maybe being involved in it? Well, you know, their father was an FBI agent, and they turned around and sued the parents of Kendrick Johnson and won. They sued the parents of Kendrick Johnson. I think they may have sued his lawyer too. Okay, so they may have heard that story and saw how that turned out. And then let's not forget Tawana Bradley. Wasn't that her name? The young girl back in the 1990s, and Al Sharpton was involved. It was in the late 80s or early 90s. Tawana Bradley, I think that was her name. She accused the prosecutor of R-wording her, and then said that the prosecutor and these other racist white men took her somewhere and R-worded her and put SHIT on her and all of that. And then they came back and said that she lied about it, and she ended up having to pay like $600,000 to the prosecutor that she accused. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that story? Now, to this day, I don't think she was lying. My spirit told me she wasn't lying when I read the story. Okay, I don't think she was lying. I think they were all lying. Now, they claim, if I'm not mistaken, that her boyfriend told them or said something about she made it all up. But there was also speculation by people in that area at the time that said that the boyfriend was likely threatened, okay, with criminal charges for some other things if he didn't go along with the program. Okay, please pay attention. This is what devils do. They do these things and then they play the victim. Okay, so now with that all being said, let's continue. It's 2:15. We're 2 hours and 15 minutes in. Now, do you all want me to stop here, or you want me to go on? Because I have some Black history stuff I wanted to show you all real quick, because I don't think I'm going to come back. I have some stuff to do later, unless there's some breaking news. Do you all want to hear the Black history information? Yay or nay? Carly said they lit Al Sharpton up for that. Yes, they did. Brawley. That was her last name. Thank you, beloved. Thank you, Rockbush. Yeah, Brawley. That was her name. I never thought she was lying. Alice said, go on. Just anticipate said, go on. Okay, let's get into it. This is just a few clips I want you all to see for Black History Month. We're going to go to a clip from T.I.'s podcast. He actually interviewed. Hold on, before I go to that, no, let me show you something else first before I go to that. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Hold on, beloveds. Here it is. Okay, let's go to this first, because this talks about the Atlanta mayors and how Atlanta got all these black mayors that we keep getting. Okay, I want you all to pay attention. Because this white mayor of Atlanta from decades ago, he obviously saw it coming and he tried to stop it, but he couldn't. Okay, he just couldn't stop it, but he tried so hard. Please pay attention. Listen to this.
Former mayor of Atlanta said about potential black political power back in 1943.
But the most important thing to remember and cannot be publicized in the press or made the subject of public speeches. Our Negro population is growing by leaps and bounds. They stay right in the city limits and grow by taking more white territory inside Atlanta. Our migration is good white, home-owning citizens. With the federal government insisting on political recognition of Negroes in local affairs, the time is not far distant when they will become a potent political force in Atlanta if our white citizens are just going to move out and give it to them. This is not intended to stir race prejudice because all of us want to deal fairly with them. But do you want to hand them political control of Atlanta, either as a majority or a powerful minority vote? William B. Hartsfield, 1943.
30 years later, Maynard Jackson became the first black mayor of Atlanta, and every mayor since then has been black.
Okay, I'm sorry, sir. Your prediction was very accurate, but you couldn't do anything about it, sadly. Okay? Couldn't do anything about it, sadly. He didn't want the black people to start gaining so much momentum and just overcrowding Atlanta to where they had so much voting power that they would elect a black mayor. Well, it may have taken 30 years, but at long last, we're here. Okay? We have black mayors ever since then. All right? Ever since we got the first one with Maynard Jackson, they've all been black. And I love it. Now, let's talk about the current mayor, Andre Dickens. Because when I saw this report, I say, now this is the mayor I'm talking about. This is the mayor I'm rocking with, because I didn't really rock with Kasim Reeves. And the reason being is because there was a black man by the age of, I think he was around age 23. He was found hanging from a tree in Piedmont Park, while Kasim Reeves was the mayor. And he, along with the police, lied, in my opinion, let me just say that, and said that the man did it to himself. Just like they always tell us when a black man's found hanging from a damn tree, or a black woman, or whomever, they always say a black person hanging from a tree did it to themselves. We're not hanging ourselves from no damn tree, okay? And everybody with sense knows that, okay? And also, let me just say that days before this young man was found hanging from that tree, well, you know, there were Klansmen at the park passing out pamphlets. Coincidence? Yeah, I think not. Okay, I think not. Danielle says, do the Black History spots from now on, Queen. All right, beloved, I'll try. Now, thank you for your insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, so now with that all being said, I think I will do that at least a couple of times a week. Maybe not every day. But let's get into it. This is T.I. with Ambassador. No, I'm sorry. This is him. We'll get to that momentarily. But this is him with Mayor Andre Dickens. Now, where do y'all hear this story, honey? Because I didn't even know this was going on in Atlanta. It's all nefarious.
The most challenging thing that you've had to deal with since you've become mayor? What's the greatest challenge?
Man, it still is this place called Forest Cove, which is the old Four Seasons in Thomasville.
Okay.
This is Section 8 apartments. First year as mayor, January, it's 34 degrees. These community members been calling me for the last week or so saying, you gotta come down here, you gotta see this. And my team is like, Mayor, these people are saying this problem exists. And I'm like, tell me about it. And I say, all right, Saturday morning, we're gonna roll up. Because they're already showing up on the crime stats. They're already showing up on, fire and ambulance visits. And I'm like, okay, let's go see what's going on. This is January. I've been mayor for like 3 weeks. I go down there And these apartments are so dilapidated, so broken. And I'm walking through with the police, with homeless service outreach people, and I'm looking at broken windows. I'm looking at everything just falling apart. And through a broken window is a kid looking at me with big eyes, just looking, waving. I'm like, oh, I'm thinking that's one of the abandoned units. I'm like, nah, they live in there. I'm like, it's 34 degrees, and all the windows are, have them broken this, broken that. There's little bullet holes in the side of the doors and all this other kind of stuff. And the unit next to it is what they call the garbage unit. So because they're not paying for their garbage services no more. All your trash you get out your kitchen, you just throw it in this unit.
What?
And it's next to this unit that this kid is looking at. So the rats that's eating up all this garbage is trying to get into this unit where this kid is that ain't got no damn heat and 34-degree weather. And he just looking at me, he or she.
And someone owns these apartments.
Yes.
And collecting money from Section 8 from the government, but not making it livable for human beings.
Not making it livable.
Now wait till you find out who owns them. Who owns these properties? Wait till you find out.
It was the type of evil that doesn't show up with a pistol. It just shows up with ill
intent.
Yeah, ill intent. It was abusive. It was so negligent that it was abusive. It's like you took, not only did you, and so just to get to this point. So I'm walking through and I'm looking at all these problems, rats, mold, mildew, and people are coming out like, man, I'm so glad you're here. These women are coming out in hair rollers and house robes. Like, let me show you this picture. This is the rat that was the rat was size of a possum, like the size of a chihuahua. They showing me pictures of, this is what, I ain't got no heat, I ain't got no this, I ain't got no that. My electricity, I'm pulling electricity for my stove from the neighbors. We plugging and plugging. My refrigerator don't work. And I'm like, how long has it been like this? A year, 2 years? And I'm like, okay.
As a man, what do you do?
And I got back in that truck and I cried. And I was like, okay. And I just got on the phone and we started calling people. And I was like, get me that property owner. Dude lived in Missouri. A billionaire.
What?
Has a jet.
What?
Found out this company has dozens of these properties in Black communities in Mississippi, in Memphis, in St. Louis, in Atlanta. He bought up all these properties through these private equity deals, and his team is collecting the Section 8 money from the federal government, but not reinvesting it into the deployment of proper management and operations and cleaning up these properties.
Right.
And so we sued the pants off of them. We had to do a big fight with him. We had the federal government, we had to tell them, stop sending him money because he's not doing it. So I had to drag them down here, go look at this, go look at that, go look at these problems. These people, they crying, they sad, they getting, followed out of there. I got this problem, I got that problem. And we took it was 800 residents. We, to a person, got them to safe, affordable housing, gave them all new furniture because I can't take that furniture that's got rat and termite and bed bugs and all that stuff, all your clothes, everything. We filled their refrigerators with all new food.
800 people?
800 people spread out in a city that's tight on affordable housing. And I threatened every landlord. I said, because these people ain't got no credit scores that's worth nothing no more, not really. These people are, they were paying like $200 a month rent, and the government was filling in the rest with $800.
How much could you actually charge for a place like that?
The federal government has a standard, and it is, if it's a 3-bedroom, you're gonna get about $1,200 a month rent, no matter what. So they might only be able to pay $300, but the government was funding the other $900. Right. This dude collecting the $900 or whatever from all these people every single month.
But who they paying the $300 to?
Him or not. So there was a lot of, nah, we ain't paid Mr. Dickens because we mad. And he like, well, that's why I ain't fixed the door. And so it's a lot of like it was a whole lot of they should have did, y'all should have helped us. And I was like, the bottom line, sir, is they live in that condition and you live in this condition. You flew to this meeting in the mayor's office on your private plane. And I ain't mad at you for having a private plane. I'm mad at you that now I'm reading your name in the paper in Memphis. I'm reading your name in the paper in Missouri. You don't give a damn. So I'm about to sue you. And everything that I do, so I use city money, put all them people in a safe, affordable place that they picked. I gave them every last one of them. We driving them around. These are the 3 apartments. And them apartments weren't always open for these folks. These apartment people are like, I don't know, man. They don't have no credit history, and they got more people. You know, we whatever. They got a lot of problems in their credit history and their rental history and all this other kind of stuff. And what's their psychological condition going to be coming into my post at Emily Gables? Oats
Oh,
or
you
whatever.
put them in the Gables,
whatever.
and the Emilys.
And I literally said to them landlords, I'm going to be mayor for a long time. If you think you will ever need to call me and you don't answer this call right now, don't. For the longest time, I'm going to be mayor. And they were like, we get it. I said, so my ask of you is I need 2 or 3 units out of every last one of y'all's apartments. And I'm going to charge you to do that over the next 2 or 3 months. Find me the rent rolls that opens up for this to happen. But listen, don't call me if you don't give me 3 of these units for these people that I am personally investing my time and the city's money into. And they were like, we get it. And they all did it. And
That's what I'm talking about. Oh, honey, that brought tears to my eyes. Hearing him say he did all of that. That's absolutely amazing. And that's a mayor who cares about his people in his city. Now, I hope and pray that they don't try to get him on anything nefarious because, when you have mayors like this is what they'll often try to do, come up with some sort of scandal, say they were accepting bribes for city contracts or stuff like that or whatever, or giving city contracts and accepting bribes or whatever. And you just have to be careful because that's how they did my cousin, the former mayor of Trenton, New Jersey. Okay. And another mayor here in Atlanta, I want to say it was Kasim Reeves. Okay. So now with that all being said, Shawshana says, have a blessed day, Queen and Royals. Thank you, Queen, for your hard work. Thank you, beloved, for your kind words and your contributions to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay. Now, I know you may have to go to work, beloved, but please come back and check out the Black History stuff I'm about to show at your leisure. Now, with that all being said, someone asked the question, I don't remember who it was, asked if he was married. It says here, I don't know if he's married because here's what it says. Andre Dickens, the 61st mayor of Atlanta, was previously associated with his wife, Kimberly Dickens. He has a daughter named Bailey, and they have a picture of him and the supposed wife, but why do they say previously associated? And then it says marital status. Past reports mention Kimberly Dickens as his wife. So that seems like they're not for sure if they're still married. I don't know. But anyway, honey, that is a good man. I'll say that much seems to be anyway. Now let's go to T.I. And this is a moment for Black History where he's talking to Ambassador Andrew Young, former mayor of Atlanta. And he's talking about how he was there. He witnessed Dr. King's assassination.
This is a tough room to be in.
It's not.
It's not? It's tough for me.
Well, the thing is that I was there, but the bullet hit his chin and severed his spinal cord. And bullets travel faster than sound. So I don't think he ever heard it. And I don't think he felt anything.
Right.
Because the bullet, it ripped away everything and you could see his spinal cord. And so he probably was killed with no pain.
Right.
And when I was a little boy, they talked about Elisha going to heaven on a flaming chariot. And I was in Sunday school and said I didn't believe that.
Right.
So they sent me to the superintendent of Sunday school, and she said, one day you'll understand. And that's the first thing I thought of, that this was right near the Mississippi River. And there were trees and everything and clouds. And when I got up there and looked, I looked at across the river in the clouds and I said, damn.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot I was muted. Okay, listen, I forgot to put my overlay on here. So hopefully T.I. doesn't hit me with a claim or anything. Okay, let's continue.
Martin going to heaven in a flaming chariot.
So you believed it then?
I believed it then. And I believe that, I believe he felt no pain. And I also believe that there's life after death. because I don't think I've ever made a speech ever when I could go for a whole 20 minutes and not quote something he said.
Right.
So all of us keep alive his spirit.
Right.
And it's like he's never left.
You know, when I've had friends, dear friends, pass away, and every time a friend, a family member, someone who I spent a lot of time with, every time they pass, they always come to me in a dream and say something to me, you know, and to ease my pain or my grief. Has Martin ever come to you in a dream and spoke to you?
No.
No?
Not that way, but it's not in a dream. But when I get up to speak, I get ideas, and most of the time, there's something I heard him say. It's like he has never left us.
So if you can recall this day, you guys were in Memphis marching with the sound, and this is a time where you left the march to go to the hotel. Was the march over or?
Well, I was in a suit, and I had been in the court all day. Because we were filing for permission to have a march. And I was the one that was there testifying.
Got it.
And when I came back, Martin was down in the room below this with his brother.
Okay.
And they had, plates were scattered all over. They must have had, it was maybe a dozen of them in the room. And back then they served these big platters full of catfish.
Okay.
And they had eaten catfish and cornbread all night and drink iced tea, all day. And they were laughing, they were really happy.
Right.
And the only time he ever called me nigger. Where you been, little nigga? And I said, I've been down at the courthouse trying to keep you out of jail so you can march again. And somebody said, "Oh, you smart." And somebody threw a pill he threw a pill at me. And I threw it back at him, and then everybody piled on me. They were acting like just a bunch of big kids.
Right.
And then he went upstairs to get his, to put on his suit to go out to dinner.
Was he called upstairs or was he called upstairs?
No.
He just decided it was time?
Well, somebody came to the door and said, "You all need to get ready. My wife is fixing dinner at 6 o'clock. And it's 5:45 and y'all not even dressed yet."
Right.
And so he said, "Let me go on upstairs." And he put on a shirt and tie. He didn't like to go out without a shirt and tie.
Soy Lucas, tengo 4 años y soy paciente de San Juan.
Okay. So now with that all being said, hold on, beloveds. I have just 2 more clips, and then I promise we're out of here. 2 more clips. Okay, hold on. So now this is another clip of him and T.I., and I thought this was hilarious. Okay, hold on. Now he's going to talk about Emmett Till, but also there's something else about this white guy he's going to talk about that I want you all to see.
Mom, brother Emmett Till and his mom. Yeah. I've heard that this is the moment that sparked the civil rights movement.
It is. It's one of them. Yeah. Because she took him back and didn't cover it up. She made sure that they didn't that they opened the casket and everybody saw how brutal they were toward him.
And how old was brother Till?
He was just about 12.
I can't imagine how to remain nonviolent in a time like that. If it was my nephew or my son, I just couldn't imagine.
There was nobody down there with a gun much.
Mm.
In fact, the black folk in Mississippi
Mm-hmm.
didn't react at all because that was happening all the time to some people. She took his body back to Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when people got angry.
Got it. So this happened in Mississippi.
Yeah.
Mm. And as he visited his family in Mississippi.
And they said,
Now I want you all to pay attention. Now T.I. is asking him these questions, but don't think that T.I. doesn't already know the answers. He knows this. He knows our history. He's just asking the questions for him to answer them for those who don't know. Okay, because a lot of people don't realize. I reported this to you also. You all surely know, those who have been following me. But a lot of people don't realize that Emmett Till's murder and lynching was the catalyst for the civil rights movement. Some people think it was Rosa Parks sitting down on the bus, but it was Emmett Till. Okay.
they said he whistled at the white girl.
Mm.
But I don't believe that.
The white lady actually said that she lied about that.
Yeah. And the thing was, he was a well-dressed young black man.
Mm-hmm.
And he was good looking. And she might have been
looking at him. Yeah, he looked like a fly young man.
Mm-hmm. He was just about 12 then, I think.
Mm.
He found himself tremendously calm.
Who's this gentleman?
Anger towards
Jim Lawson. Jim Lawson was from Ohio, and he was a pacifist.
A pacifist?
He refused to go to the military.
Okay.
And instead, he went to India as a missionary and studied about Gandhi. And he came back he and I came back about the same time. I came south. He came back south.
Okay.
And he came back and went to Fisk and Tennessee State.
Okay.
And started teaching them about nonviolence.
And these are the rules.
Yeah.
In the nonviolence protest.
Yeah.
So he developed these rules.
Pretty much.
Okay. And you and Martin and the rest of the SCLC embodied these rules and made sure this is what people had to do. Do you remember this installation?
Not that one.
Okay.
But that's a reproduction.
Uh-huh. So on this particular installation, it gives us the opportunity to sit down, put the headphones on, and listen to racist white people tell us to get up.
I've been there and done.
T.I. is something else. He said it gives us the opportunity to sit down, put the headphones on, and listen to racist white people tell us to get up.
And that.
I am so done with you.
The elders that paved the way for us. A. Philip Randolph.
Okay.
This, what was her name?
Her name is Dorothy Height.
Dorothy Height.
Yeah.
She was a basketball player in college.
Really?
She was almost a little over 6 feet tall. And she was in charge of organizing the women.
Okay. The Big Six.
Yeah.
Who are all these people?
Yeah, John Lewis, Whitney Young, A. Philip Randolph, Martin Luther King, Roy Wilkins, and Jim Palmer.
Now, what did aside from, of course, we know Congressman John Lewis, and we know Dr. Martin Luther King. What did these other guys do?
Whitney Young started an urban league. A. Philip Randolph organized the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters.
Okay.
First black labor union.
Okay.
You know Martin Luther King. Jim Palmer was head of the Committee on Racial Equality Corps, and Roy Wilkins, NAACP.
What about Mr. Rustin here?
Yeah, he was the first person I heard give a speech on nonviolence. When I went to seminary in 1952, and I can remember him being very proper. And the one thing he said was, repentance need not be multilateral. I said, what is this Negro talking about? And what he was trying to say was, you don't need to wait for white folk to repent before you repent.
Right.
If we break down our barriers against race, we can let them come along afterwards. On you.
How often did you guys make it to places like California and?
Well, we raised a lot of money in California.
Okay.
See, we didn't have much money in the South. So we'd go to places like Los Angeles or Chicago. Mahalia Jackson in Chicago, Mayor Daley, and said, I want to have a rally for Martin Luther King, and I want Soldiers Field, and I ain't got no money. And he said, well, I guess we have to arrange it. And we had close to 100,000 people there.
At Soldiers Field.
Soldiers Field. And so every time we went to Chicago, we had to go by Mahalia's house, and she'd cook greens and, you know, fried chicken, fish.
Right on. Now, that was a story that you told. I was at the premiere, or well, it was a viewing of your documentary, The Dirty Work.
Yeah.
And there was a story that was told about Hosea Williams. He was chosen to do something nobody else wanted to do. And he said, y'all set me up.
No, everybody wanted to do it.
Okay.
But that was the march from Selma to Montgomery.
Got it.
And Martin didn't want me to go at all.
Why?
Because he said, I'm coming over. We made a mistake. It was a leap year. And the second Sunday turned out to be what normally is the 7th of March. If it's a Sunday, it's the second Sunday.
Okay.
But this time, it was the first Sunday.
Okay.
So we had scheduled it for the second Sunday in March, and most of the people showed up
on the
7th, which was the first Sunday.
Got it.
And so all the preachers were in their churches back in Atlanta, Nashville, and they wanted to cancel the march and wait for Martin Luther King to come. And I was on the phone, and I said, we really shouldn't cancel it.
Right.
And he said, well, don't you march. You stay, because I'll be over there. He finished church and got a plane to come over to Selma. And he said, I'll be there by 3 o'clock. Well, because he was planning to lead the march the next day. But we didn't expect people to get beat up.
Right.
But they were waiting and beat up everybody. But Hosea, when it ended up on the front of Look Life magazine, he didn't mind.
So here's a fun fact. I used to work for Hosea Williams's attorney. Okay, I used to work for Hosea Williams's attorney. And when he told me that he used to be the attorney for Hosea Williams, I was like, are you serious? And he absolutely did. Okay, so now with that all being said, that was not the clip that I wanted you all to see. I mean, well, I thought it had this clip added in, but here's the clip I'm talking about. Let's get into it. Then one more clip after this.
Shows an angry white man jumping in the pool, trying to stop all of these black people from being in a pool that's supposed to be whites only.
Okay, now I want you all to pay attention to how ridiculous this is. Look. See the picture of the white guy jumping into the pool? He's upset because black people are in the pool and it's supposed to be a whites only pool.
This young man had all his clothes on and willing to get soaking wet to get in there and stop people from swimming. That is the dumbest thing I could imagine.
Well,
of all the options.
Segregation was dumb.
This shows an angry white man jumping in the pool, trying to stop all of these black people.
Okay, trying to stop black people who are already in the pool. Okay, now we're going to go to this last clip. It's like 3.5 minutes long. And this is Dick Gregory. Okay, this is Dick Gregory speaking, and I'm going to put an overlay on here. But you all need to pay real close attention. Okay, you need to pay real close attention because something is going to be revealed in this video. Now, let me put the overlay back up.
But what you're fixing to witness now is the man who came by to get King to take him to dinner. And 30 years later at a press conference, he slipped because God do baffle your mind sometimes. You look.
Some of the activities are geared especially for the young who did not have a chance to get the feel or to know what the civil rights movement actually was about. Even as they marched, now they could have stopped in a hotel, but when you think about marching from Memphis to Jackson or Jackson to Memphis, there were no hotels. You stayed in churches, you stayed in people's homes, and that's how we got over, that's how we got through. The struggle was a spiritual struggle. You couldn't pay people to do what we had to do. You couldn't pay people to stand before mad dogs and fire hoses and billy clubs and cattle prods. It was strictly a spiritual and moral movement. So we wanted that dimension to be in the pilgrimage to Memphis. We will revisit the mountaintop speech site. That's the Mason's Temple, where Dr. King made his last address, which he almost didn't make, because the night that we were having that rally, there were tornado warnings, and he was behind on the Poor People's Campaign. And he said, you guys go on over and have the rally. I'm going to stay at the motel and work on the Poor People's Campaign. When we got there and Dr. Abernathy walked in and Jesse Jackson walked in and I walked in and others, people started clapping because they thought Martin was behind us. And so Ralph's preacher said to him, this is not our crowd. And he went to the phone and called Dr. King and said, any of the marches that we had in those days, you have an opportunity to bring the children and bring the family and march with us. And when I finished sharing with them the last hour of Dr. King's life, a hurry, but that gave me the wonderful privilege of spending the last hour on earth. 3 preachers in a room, Abernathy, King, and Kyle. And we spent that last hour together in room 306 at the Lorraine Motel. The press is always curious, and writers, what went on? What did you talk about? I say, we just talk preacher talk. What preachers talk about when they get together.
Y'all pay real attention to what you're fixing to hear now.
About 5:45, we walked on the balcony, and he was talking to people in the courtyard. He stood.
Okay, now listen, please listen closely. You don't want to miss it.
Here and I stood there, only as I moved away so we could have a clear shot. The shot rang out.
Thank you.
I turned around and then knocked him back on the balcony.
Listen. Wait, listen. Listen. 30 years later, His brother never realized he would slip and say that.
Joker told on himself. Did you all hear that? Did you all hear that? He told on himself. He said, I moved out of the way so it could have a clear shot. Dirty devil. 30 years later, he said it. And let me tell you something. A wise person and an elder told me years ago that sometimes the Most High will make you tell on yourself with a Freudian slip. Okay? Sometimes the Most High will make you tell on yourself with a Freudian slip. And also, they told me that sometimes when you're about to say something and you suddenly forget your thought and it doesn't come back, that's because you were about to reveal something to somebody who you didn't need to reveal it to. Because sometimes, there's familiar spirits. Okay? Sometimes there are monitoring spirits. Okay? So sometimes you forget your thoughts for a reason. The Most High is stopping you from telling something you shouldn't tell. Okay? But he told on himself. I thought that was very interesting. Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. Cyrus says, you always have a glow around you, Queen. Thank you, beloved. That's my aura, I'm pretty sure. Thank you. Okay, so now with that all being said, I love you all to life, honey. I'm about to conclude this broadcast. Okay? Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Also, don't forget to double check and make sure you're still subscribed to the channel, especially if you don't receive notifications. For all the new members, I go live every day, Monday through Friday, okay? And also mostly on the weekends, but definitely Monday through Friday, okay, in the mornings. Now, with that all being said, I may come back later. I'm not going to guarantee it, but if I do, it'll be between 6:30 and 7:30. Okay, so with that all being said, if you don't get a notification, just check the channel. All right, so anyway, with that all being said, I love you all to life, and I will talk to you all again soon. Peace.
With that flavor all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. That's See right. A bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all in Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hate